I see dead people.
Hot shit.
Here's Johnny.
Stop.
We have such sights to show you.
Bring the motherfucking ruckus. Fuck you too.
Oh, buddy boy.
Is this the beginning?
This is the beginning.
All right. Can you hear me?
I can. See, that's you.
All right.
You good?
Yeah, as long as that's fine. As long as I'm loud enough.
I have post tools to help with such things. Do not worry.
All right.
Do not worry, young squire. How's it going, man?
Good.
How you doing
Good.
tonight?
I guess I can look at you instead of just watching the computer screen.
Oh, you. Most of the guys usually watch while stuff's happening too, just because they're interested in it.
I'm doing well.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for inviting me.
Nice Monday night here. Thank you for being such a gracious host.
Yes.
I basically called you up out of nowhere and said, how would you feel talking about not only all of the movies that I put on a list from 2024, but also like half of a list of 2023, because we didn't do one of these last year.
Right.
Instead, what we did last year was you were a part of a group game. That was one of your episodes, and then we also recorded another little commentary thing. But that was your contribution to the last season of the show. But I wanted to do a catch up because someone on, I want to say SoundCloud, messaged me and said, on the last one that we did one of these, where we just talked about movies the entire time, they were just like, you should do more of these. It's simple and it's easy to listen to.
Cool.
And I said, you're right, because there's no theatrics, there's no nothing to read, nothing to pace, but I still like having a little bit of direction, so I did make a physical list of things that we're going to talk about. But it was mostly just to keep it all stocked, all inventoried. There were quotas I needed to hit to get here today, which is why I've been watching, like, I want to say 2 or 3 movies a week for the last, 6 weeks. Just something new, just something random, whether it means going physically to a theater and seeing some shit, or catching multiple things on a streaming service or website or what have you. But I think I compiled a list of almost 30 things for 2023 and over 40 things for 2024. So there's 70-ish, 70 exactly items on this list.
All right. Let's do it.
And you, I assume, based on, you told me a very fun fact before we even got into recording. You told me that your AMC, A-list subscription told you that you had seen how many? 60?
60 is what they said last
Just
year.
60 exactly?
Yeah.
60 movies this year. 60 trips to your local AMC, and we have a couple good ones around here, so I certainly like choosing between the two for different offerings.
I like the Dolby and the IMAX, of course, but also that they have a lot of the lower, or more limited release movies, a lot of horror movies at that AMC.
Yeah.
But they don't all have the nice, comfortable chairs like at the...
No, and that is, there is a clear line where 6 of these I had to go see at the multiplex, just because really the other one has half as many screens, so they tend to just play more mainline shit. I think the craziest thing, well, we'll get to it. The craziest thing that I saw there this year at my little 8 theater was Terrifier.
Right.
They played Terrifier there, and that's when I was like, damn. Like, we got, like, a really weird, like, indie horror film in my theater. So that just showed me that things it might have been a good year for horror or something.
That movie got a wider release, though, too.
It did, but it's still niche.
Yeah.
It's definitely not, like... It's very close to being mainstream, but I think it needs, like, a push.
Right.
Because it doesn't have, I don't believe it has, like, a big company behind it, right?
No.
It's
Bloody Disgusting, right?
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure it was the equivalent of, like, Shudder.
Yeah, I think it's Bloody Disgusting.
That's fair. Which is niche as hell.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like an A24, it's not like a Magnet. It's not, you know... there's another one. There's another big indie horror company that I'm not remembering. Is it Neon?
I was just thinking that.
I was going to say, Neon's fucking awesome, too. Neon had some bangers on this list. Do you just want to get into it? Should I start this shit?
Sure. Are we starting with 2023? Or
We're going to start with 2023 because I want to work up to present, is how I feel like. Now, my list is alphabetical, so it's going to be bopping all over the fucking year.
All right.
But my list is alphabetical.
So you say the movie, and I'll say yes or no.
Well, I'm gonna say the movie, and I'm gonna give you a 1-sentence summary of what I feel like that movie was, just to recap it also for the audience.
And then I'll see
and
if
then
I
you'll
can
say,
remember if I've seen it,
yes,
and if I've seen it,
what your opinion
I thought
was.
of it.
Yes.
Okay.
This is the game we're gonna play for the next 2 hours. I hope you're available.
Let's go.
All right. I loved this one. Cobweb.
Yes, I liked that one too.
Cobweb story of weird little kid, even weirder parents controlling him, being semi-abusive because he has a hidden sister that's kept under lock and key somewhere else in the house, is basically the allegory, but it's because she's a demon or some shit.
I don't remember. But yeah, that one was
The idea
good.
is cobweb of, like, you know, like gaining dust, like being forgotten, like being pushed away, you know.
Right.
And I believe the twist is that the kid has a sister that they tried to dispel through shady alternative means.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't
But
remember.
I fucking loved it because fucking Homelander plays the dad, and the chick from the Stephen King prison show.
Right.
Castle Rock.
Right.
The chick who played Kathy Bates' character from Misery in Castle Rock played the mom. And I'm butchering this because I don't remember their names. But then the kid was actually likable. It was actually a fun movie. And there's this part where things go apeshit near the end, and this, like, demon sister gets out and eats a bunch of kids and rips them apart and shit.
Are you telling everybody what happens?
Yeah, because we're covering everything that happened.
We're covering everything that happened in every movie?
We're covering the plot summary. Well, only the ones I like. Only the ones I like.
All right.
Only the ones I like. This came out 2 years ago at this point, Mark. We gotta cover this shit.
Yeah, it's an old one.
No, if me saying you want to watch kids get fucking eaten and ripped apart, watch this fucking movie. There's like a Carrie moment at the end, and it fucking rocks. Yeah, I liked Cobweb. Thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
Yeah. This one was disappointing as hell. Cocaine Bear.
Yeah, it was still fun.
I thought it was okay, but I don't know. It didn't hit all cylinders for me.
Let me do the summary.
You got
This bear gets into a pile of cocaine that's been lost from some cocaine sellers, and it goes on a rampage.
I like that. But it's also you also have to add in the note that it's a CGI cocaine bear.
Yeah.
It's very CGI.
Yeah.
They don't have any fun like B movie close-ups where they try to use like a fake bear head or any shit like that. It needed something like that.
They went the anaconda route.
They went the
obvious computer.
They
creature.
fucking did a dubious
I like anaconda.
CGI.
Though.
I mean, yeah, anaconda's fun, but cocaine bear is not quite the same.
Yeah, I would watch anaconda many times. I would only probably watch cocaine bear a couple times in my whole life.
I've only watched it the once, and that was enough for me.
Yeah, I mean, I might watch it several years down the road. I've only seen it once, but I will watch it again one day, I bet.
I'm not giving it a thumbs down. I'm just saying I was outwardly disappointed upon...
Didn't live up to its crazy
Did not
title.
live up to the crazy name. I did think it was funny, but I really needed a B-movie Sci-Fi Channel-esque head prop that just, like, comes into a scene and rips a dude's leg off. Like, it wouldn't have been hard to do that.
Grizzly.
Yeah.
That movie, like
yeah.
that one? Grizzly.
I liked this next one a lot. Evil Dead Rise.
Right. I like that, too. It was pretty good.
Mom in apartment complex, kid finds old vinyl that has recording of Necronomicon and plays it. And, what are they fucking called?
Deadites.
Deadites, Cambion curse.
Right.
They start taking over the mom and other people in the building.
Right.
And luckily her sister is there to help protect the kids.
And here's a bit of trivia.
Okay.
It was like 2 weeks after I saw the movie that it occurred to me that Rise in the title referred to it being a high rise and also the dead rising.
Yes.
That's not a movie trivia, that's Mark Rooster trivia.
I like the Mark Rooster trivia.
It took me a long time before one day I was...
to understand the double entendre
just sitting around thinking...
of them calling it Rise.
Oh my god.
I don't know what the new one is called, but it's not as cool. There's another one. They're doing another one. It's like Evil Dead fucking Inferno or some shit. I don't fucking know.
That's not a catchy title at all.
No, I butchered it. It's something it's something not as cool as Rise. Because the cool thing about Rise is coming out of the ground, but also high-rise apartment, like you said.
Right.
I thought it was fun. I thought it was a good movie. I liked the soundtrack. I thought both of the female actresses were great. The chick who played the mom from Vikings is fucking hot as hell.
These new Evil Dead movies aren't very funny, though.
They're not, no. I'm okay with that, though.
Yeah.
We have the Sam Raimi ones to fall back on when you're in the mood for that, but I would much rather have a new school, just absolute balls to the wall, crazy, violent, Evil Dead movie. I don't know. The TV show scratched that itch for me, too. Having a fun, Bruce-filled adventure.
Pretty wacky, that show.
Yeah. The movie doesn't have that, like, charm or that B-movie quality that I was talking about with Cocaine Bear, but I think it mimicked the 2013 one enough that I was like, this is fucking cool, because I love that one, too. Brief thoughts. We don't have to get into this one too much, because I feel like I have on other episodes, but Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah, I finally understand what it is now. I mean,
You're someone who didn't know what any of that was?
Right. I only knew that kids liked it and there were toys and games and stuff. But I thought it was pretty fun. I would have loved it when I was 12 years old.
I'm going to try not to take that personally. Because I fucking love Five Nights at Freddy's.
There's there's nothing wrong with that either.
No. Like, I watch people play the games. I followed the lore. I think the story's super interesting. And then I saw the movie and I was like, this doesn't quite hit like the video game does.
Right.
It just doesn't nail everything that it needs to. And it was a bit too family friendly. The scene where, like, the little girl is just, like, hanging out with them in the pizza parlor. and they're all like playing games and bonding and shit.
I was surprised.
Being fun. I was like, nah, stop. You're supposed to kill people. That's the game.
Yeah, but somebody gets like bitten in half in the beginning.
Yeah, but it needs to continue
that.
being that. The entire thing needs to be that. And frankly, give the dude... I feel like I don't have to explain the plot of Five Nights at Freddy's to anyone who's listening to this show, because I feel like we read creepypasta as a TV show. You know what Five Nights at Freddy's are. You are the audience. The video games could be adapted seriously easily if you just take the snapshot of what that experience is supposed to be and just stretch it out for an hour and a half. I really do think that there's a really cool kind of Friday the 13th-esque movie hiding in there somewhere, because essentially you have multiple situations where it's a person trapped somewhere and the place is haunted, and there's multiple suited things following you, and they're dressed as something like kitty related. And it's just like, there's a side of that conceptually you don't need to have any exposition, you don't need to go into all of this shit. You could really just have the experience be that little snapshot of what the game is and just draw it out to an hour and a half. And the point I'm bringing this up, the problem with the guy who wrote the games, who also writes the books, is he gets way too fucking... There's a reason for everything in all of his books, and none of that happens in the games. And what we got as a movie is him saying it's not just an adaptation of the games, but it's also an adaptation of the books that I wrote. And he's mixing all this fucking shit together. Because I'm sure that, just like me, I only know about the video games. I have not read the books. I would much rather them just fucking adapt that. The experience of someone being stuck somewhere with a bunch of things hunting them down. It's a very easy B-movie plot. But instead, we have to get, like, a history, we have to get drama, we have to get, like, the fucking weird thing about cinema recently, which is, like, an older guy character protecting a younger female character for the entire plot. For some reason, that's, like, a thing now. In both in horror and in cinema, just in general.
Okay.
I could think of Mandalorian and Grogu and Last of Us, fucking Joel and Ellie, and, you know, the whole just wolf and cub situation. Okay. So yeah, they made Five Nights at Freddy's into a weird wolf and cub situation, and it didn't need to be.
Maybe you'll like the next one better.
Well, now that they don't need to be bogged down in useless exposition, and they have they should have a better budget, because they made a fuck ton of money with the first one.
Yeah.
You know, say what you will about the plot. I think it made $1 billion.
Yeah, it was definitely successful. Yeah.
That's fucking wild to me. So if you just go back and do the first movie again with a better budget and a better plot with less exposition, we'll get more moments like at the end of that movie, like with Matt Lillard,
right,
fucking sneaking around, being fucking creepy. That's the best part of that fucking movie.
I already forgot about that part.
He's fucking great. Gotta give him props. He fucking pulled that shit off.
I like him.
Yeah, Blumhouse, probably one of their only bangers on this list. Five Nights at Freddy's. And even then, it's not, like, the best thing ever made. In conversation, one of the best things ever made in 2023. Godzilla -1.
Yeah, I went back to see that one again.
I think I saw it 3 times.
See it in black and white.
So did I.
And then I watched it at home.
Netflix. I haven't watched it at home yet. I think I saw it in theaters 3 times.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the best Godzilla movies ever.
I'm going to go as far as to say one of the best movies of 2023.
Yeah, it was really
I don't
good.
think you need to be a Godzilla fan to like that movie.
No.
It's that good. And I feel like I've said it before to multiple people who have I've been like, "Oh, you're a Godzilla fan." Because we're going to talk about the other ones that came out that are also on this list. When I learn that someone is a Godzilla fan, there are like two modes of thinking, and it's all based off of one question. What was your opinion of the Shin Godzilla movie that came out in like, I don't fucking know, 2019?
Right. I liked it, but it wasn't something I wanted to watch a lot of times or anything.
I thought it was incredibly boring, and I thought that what they did to Godzilla was fucking gross and weird.
He was definitely a little strange looking, and he went through a metamorphosis, too.
Yeah,
in
he
that
shows
movie.
up as an armless fucking weirdo bumping into buses, and then he turns into a big old grump,
Yeah.
and then he gets fucking scorched, and he turns into scorched grump. But then he starts shooting fucking laser beams everywhere, and I'm like, can we calm down, please? Like, come on. He's like shooting lasers out of his tail. His tail grows like a little face and shoots a fucking laser.
It was unusual.
I'm good, man. I watch anime. Keep my anime and my Godzilla apart. I don't want the two to leak into one another. Because that's when you get Shin Godzilla. There was something weird going on there. And the fucking ending, where it's like, it's fucking weird, man. And it makes me uncomfortable talking about it. The ending is like, oh, Godzilla's evolving, and he like starts to deconstruct into like person-sized Godzillas? Like raptor people?
I'll have to tell you, I don't remember any of this.
Dude, it's the ending. So, literally, the ending shot of Shin Godzilla is Godzilla was like frozen or some shit, turned into stone, whatever, however they fucking end that movie. And they say, it's crazy that we were able to stop him when we did, because if we didn't, he would have evolved again.
Right.
Because the idea throughout the movie, like you said, is that he's constantly evolving and emerging into a newer form based on how he's shut down. And the ending clip is like, yeah, I'm so glad we stopped him from evolving again, because look how close he was. And they fucking zoom in on his tail, and it shows that his tail was breaking down into little person-sized raptor Godzilla hybrid creatures. And I remember seeing that for the first time and being like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, I don't remember that, but I enjoyed that movie, but not as much as this new one.
I love that you're
Definitely.
like, yeah, no, I don't remember that. Dude, Shin Godzilla was fucking wild, and I will never forget it. Whereas -1 was fucking beautiful, and I've tried to tell as many people as I can that it was probably one of the best things to happen in 2023.
It was very good.
And that they should just put aside the giant green guy and fucking watch it.
Yeah, give it a chance.
Yo, this one was sad. Horror adjacent, because it's worth note, Disney's Haunted Mansion attempt.
I didn't see that.
You didn't see it. I don't need to explain this one again. You're listening to this show. You know the audience. Disney has a ride. They made a Eddie Murphy movie in the early 2000s about a different ghost from that ride. And they said, well, that didn't work, but people like this ride, so we're going to do it again. And they made it about a different ghost, actually 2 different ghosts from the ride. I think the plot's better. I think it's a better movie. I think it's acted better, certainly. But it's missing, like, the charm of the early 2000s Disney hybrid blockbuster thing. Because, like, Pirates of the Caribbean was, like, an era.
Right.
Those first fucking movies fucking hit. And it's because Disney was putting tons of money into them. And they were ahead of their time with doing effects and shit. The Haunted Mansion with Eddie Murphy was weird and not great, but there were a lot of great things in it. And that was the opposite with the new one. The new one was too mundane and too forgettable and too stupid that it didn't have any of the things that made the other one, unfortunately, more likable.
I haven't seen either of them.
You haven't seen either of them?
No.
They're horror adjacent. They're fun. I would describe the first one more as along the lines of like a Scooby-Doo caper flick.
I remember the preview.
Yeah. And then this one is more of a... I don't know. This one's more of a weird late 2000s, like... almost like sitcom-y episode of some type of show. It's almost weird how they, like... the chapter structure of the movie kind of breaks down to specific characters and their expositions and what brought them to the house. And it's just weird because it's all through the lens of, I forgot the dude's name, but he's the side actor in Atlanta. And he was in Death Note and shit. Lakeith Stanfield.
Yeah, he's good.
He's fantastic. He's fantastic. And he's great in the 2023 Haunted Mansion, too. But he only has so much to carry throughout that movie because they keep splitting it up between all these other characters, and no offense, not all of them are great.
Right.
You know, Danny DeVito is heavily underutilized in that film. And it's also weird because they got Jared Leto to play the bad guy, and he just had an off couple years recently. I just feel like he did the same thing for Morbius that he did for the bad guy in Haunted Mansion, and I was like, this is weird. It was just weird. I don't need to ruminate on it. Haunted Mansion was probably a pass for a lot of people. This one is niche. Niche as hell. But I think there's a chance that you might have seen it. The new Hell House.
No, I don't.
LLC.
I've never watched any of those movies.
You've never watched any of the Hell House movies?
No, I never have. It's found footage, right?
It is, but it's done really well.
I know. I just have this.
Well, the
bias
first one,
against
at
found
least,
footage.
and then this new one. I like the first.
One day I'll watch.
I believe there's 4 of them. I believe there's 4. I believe this 4th one is, the actual title was Hell House LLC Origins, the Carmichael Manor. I believe it's the 4th one. Ironically, it was the first one I saw. Because Ali was like, no, this is a prequel to the first one. So it's fine if you want to watch this one first, because all it's going to do is inform what you then see in the first movie. And I was like, okay, cool, whatever. I'm usually a stickler about, like, what I haven't watched the other ones. I'm going to be lost. She was like, nah, it's a prequel. None of this stuff's going to carry over. It's not going to make sense anyway. I was like, okay, I'll approach it as different things. And I did, and I loved it. I thought Carmichael Manor was fucking awesome. You could tell there's like a faux documentary style.
Yes.
It starts off as a faux documentary. It's very Blair Witch in that they interview people and investigators and stuff, and then they cut away to footage that they've recovered. And it's always fun to see that, like, approach done well. And, like, in this one, it's like these people rent, like, a famous haunted house to go and do, like, a investigation. And when they get there, like, shit starts to go down. Like, everything starts to go wrong, like, right off the bat. And it's just fucking awesome, because they're stuck there. And it lasts multiple days, multiple nights. And it's just fucking awesome.
Maybe one day.
Now, the original, this was the 4th one. The original, I then went back and watched after this one. It's not on the list. But I will say, fucking awesome, and filmed in our backyard.
Right, Jim Thorpe?
Yeah, it's like Lee Heighton.
Right, yes, I know this.
And I've been there 4 times. I go to the haunted house corn maze zombie thing that they do every year. And I have for the last 4. Because it's fucking awesome. You walk around the house where they filmed the first movie, and then they recreate scenes, some scenes, from the first movie as you're going through the house. And it's just fucking awesome.
That does sound fun.
It's just fucking great. You literally go into the basement where, in the first movie, there is a scene in the basement where they have mannequins in clown suits stationed in different parts of the room, and they start to move when people aren't looking at them. And they put you in a fucking room with a strobe light surrounded by clowns. And they all start to, like, move when the lights go out and shit. It's always fucking wild going through that house. But anyway, I love to support them when I can, so that's why Hell House gets a extra shout out, because Carmichael Manor is like a prequel about the dudes who made the clown suits, and that's why I thought the movie kind of slapped, because it's about the clown suits. Yeah, we're gonna get into my love of clowns a little bit on this episode. Next one, Insidious 5, The Red Door.
I didn't really care for that one so much.
I didn't either. And it's hard for me to not blame Patrick Wilson because he directed it.
He did.
It didn't have the James Wan feel. The intimacy and darkness and weirdness of a James Wan film. It just felt bland as all hell.
I think that series is done. I didn't really get that into the previous one.
They're doing more.
I think that the first one is excellent.
I think the first
one
two
is
work
very good.
I think the first two work as like a poltergeisty 1 and 2, you know.
Right, and then 3 was fine, but at that point I think that's enough.
I thought 3 was okay. I thought 4 was blah, and I thought 5 was blah.
Yeah, not very good.
I know I invited you to go see the stage show that's coming around, that's doing a country tour. And I think it's funny, because I need to mention this on the show. Allie Cat had never seen an Insidious movie. And at Horror Nights this year, on both coasts, they were doing an Insidious house. And she was like, I'm going to want to get the gist of what I'm walking through. And I said, okay, let's watch the first 2 movies, because they're very good part 1, part 2. And she was like, what about the other 2? I said, don't worry. What about the other 3 at this point? I said, don't worry about it. If you get the lipstick face in 1 and you get the trans granny in 2, you're going to be well off with what's going to be in this Horror Nights house. And she was. They only had 1 scene with the fucking cancer-beaked dude from 3. And Keyhand guy from 4. I'm good without either of those guys. As we were watching part 1, I said, all of this movie takes place basically just in this house. And I said, then and there, as we were watching it, I'm surprised no one's done an Insidious stage show, because if you had, like, separate parts of a stage acting as different rooms in a house, it would be really cool to play around with how much shit you can get away with having, like, stuff going on in the backgrounds and, like, live special effects and shit. And I say this as someone with a theater background. I've been in, like, 20-some shows, and I've seen shows my entire life. I recently just saw Grey House, which I could not have talked about as much as possible on the podcast, because it was on Broadway for like 8 months and then went off, but it was like one of the first times they tried to do something like horror in like a long time. And I remember thinking, like, Insidious would be like a Grey House light, because it's just a house. The entire show is just a house, and you're watching multiple things go on inside of a house. And I remember seeing that show and being like, I'm getting mad Insidious vibes. So as I'm watching part 1 of Insidious, I'm like, they should do this as a stage show. Within like 3 months, I saw an announcement that they were doing a tour for a stage show Insidious. And I remember being like, holy shit. Like, someone read my mind and said, we're gonna do that. And after Horror Nights, I was less surprised. Because, like, that house crushed it on both coasts. Just all cylinders fucking evil monsters, demons, adapting pretty much scenes from every movie across all 5 movies in both houses, and it was just fucking wild. And I loved it. I loved every second of it. So it made me sit back and say, you know what? I kind of like this franchise, which is why I'm saying they're doing more. And it ain't stopping. It ain't stopping anytime soon.
No, they don't cost very much.
They don't cost very much, and they are very successful. So, even though the 5th one kind of stank, they're gonna keep on hitting. All right, this one was disappointing as hell in my opinion because it had all the makings of something great. It's a Wonderful Knife.
Yeah, that sucked.
It had the makings of greatness. I love Scream adjacent movies. We'll get into that on this list too, because there were like 4 of them over the last 2 years. By Scream adjacent, I just mean masked killer movie, but no supernatural elements. In this one, there is one supernatural element, but it's akin to the groundhog thing in Freak and what is it called? Happy Death Day, or the voodoo-y shit like Freaky. It's a Wonderful Knife is it's along the same plots of It's a Wonderful Life. Like a chick around the holiday says, life would have been better if I didn't exist. And when she goes back, a killer she stopped got away with what he was doing. And she gets transported to an alternate reality where she has to, like, recapture that killer. And it just kind of sucked from that point forward, in my opinion. The best part of that movie is like the first like 20 minutes where they're like full on Scream 2, like in the middle of that.
It starts out well and then goes south, like you said. And I like both those movies that you referenced.
Yeah.
Freaky and
Happy Death Day.
Happy Death Day.
I thought both of those were fun.
They were?
No. We don't have to talk about it too much because that's going to be another topic that we're going to get into.
Okay.
Masked Killers comes up a couple times. This one was weird, but I liked it. Knock at the Cabin.
I liked it pretty well. I read
This is another one where I was like, this should have just been a stage show. I don't know why they did this.
I liked
as
it.
a movie.
I read the book that it's based on before I saw the movie. The book by Paul Tremblay, which has a better title.
What's the title?
The Cabin at the Edge of the World.
Oh, that is cool.
Yeah, it's good. I like it. I think that when M. Night Shyamalan adapts something, sometimes he has more success.
Responsible for writing it.
Like Old. Old was also very good.
Well, Old is also a very cool graphic novel.
Right, and the fact that it's not his original story,
it's not his
he's
writing.
Adapting it, I think, helps.
Yeah, I talk about M. Night a lot on the show, so I don't really want to get into, everything about the man's career, but I love M. Night. But everything you just said about, like, him adapting things that aren't his, they also lack, like, the awareness I think his characters have in his original stuff. Now, there's no good recent example because Trap certainly wasn't very good.
No.
And I didn't love The Visit. And he produced Devil, which was not great either.
I like that.
You liked Devil?
I did.
Eh.
That was supposed to be the start of the Night Chronicles. The movies that he produced.
Yeah. Yeah, not a great chapter 1.
I thought it was a good chapter 1.
I did like the Servant show though. I thought Servant was really good.
I didn't see that.
It's on Apple. Yeah, it's really very good, but it works. He works better when he can take his time. I didn't think the other TV show he did was very good. Twin Pines.
I didn't see.
That's actually when I met him at Comic-Con. I met him at Comic-Con when he was doing Twin Pines because they did like Is that what it's called? Twin Pines? Fall Pines?
Twin Pines, Fall Pines?
I forgot the fucking title of the show, man.
I haven't even seen it.
Someone's gonna fucking correct me. It's fine. There was a show like 10 years ago that he did before Servant, and it's about... No, I don't even want to get into it. It's not very good, is my point.
Yeah, you just said you didn't want to discuss him too much.
I don't want to discuss his entire fucking career. Just as someone who liked, like, all of his earlier stuff.
Same, me too.
I would much rather him adapt stuff than not make anything at all, though.
Yes, agreed.
Because his original stuff recently ain't quite hitting. Which I'm sure we'll get into as well. Next one, kind of weird. I don't know, surprised me a little bit. Megan.
I liked Megan.
I liked Megan. That's not what's weird about it. What's weird is that it was super fucking successful.
It was very successful.
It was more successful than Chucky. Than any Child's Play movie.
I felt...
And that's what's like, what?
I felt cheated, though, when I watched the R-rated version at home because it was significantly gorier. And
I didn't even know that was a thing.
I hate when they do that.
When they neuter a horror film?
Yes.
Just to get it released.
It's good. The theatrical version's good, but it's much stronger.
It was only going to make... I'm sure it would have made, like, 2/3 of the amount it would have made if it was R.
Could be. Did a lot of kids go? Maybe they did.
I think it was PG-13. And
it was.
And I think there were kids in the theater with me, and I just remember being like...
I went to Monster Mania after that movie came out, and they had, as one of the Q&As, the girl who did the physical stuff for the Megan robot, and I can't remember her name. Right, and she's from Australia, and was very fun to listen to, and Monster Mania is in Camden, New Jersey, which is... Not Camden, New Jersey, Cherry Hill, New Jersey. And somebody asked her if she'd been to the U.S. before. And she just smiled. She was so polite. She was like, yes, but never to New Jersey. Like it was some wonderful place she was finally getting to see.
It is a wonderful
Cherry
place.
Hill, New Jersey.
I thought the movie was fine. I like Chucky more. I like the Child's Play stuff more. I really do love that Chucky show. I think it's great.
Oh, yeah, it's not quite for me, but I like Chucky in general.
So, color me surprised when Megan was a banger at the box office this year. I'm open to it. I won't shut down any, freaky doll movie. This one was a little weird, but I liked it. I want to say it was Amazon or Netflix. No One Will Save You.
Yeah, I haven't watched that.
It's good. It's good. The movie is entirely quiet, like dialogue-less.
I take it back. I did see it.
You did.
And I liked it.
Yes.
I just needed a reminder.
Girl alone in house gets haunted by aliens.
Yes.
And they try to abduct her because she lives on the outskirts of town and she's responsible for someone in town being killed, so no one likes her or goes near her.
I do remember it now.
Because she essentially got away with murder.
Yeah. Caitlin Dever is that actress's name.
Yes, and she's fantastic.
Really, really good.
She should have played Ellie, in my opinion. I have a problem with The Last of Us casting, but it's just because she was so good in like 2 or 3 other things that she was in. I always wanted her to play the main role. I thought that movie was freaky, and I thought it was fun, and I thought the action was cool. I just don't really love the ending too much. I just think there was something weirdly nihilistic about her getting revenge on everyone, kind of necessarily. It would have been easier for me if she just kind of accepted her fate, and that's how the movie ended. But yeah, it's still a really fucking fun watch. And that one kind of came out of nowhere. I don't remember anyone talking about that. It literally just came out on streaming one weekend, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to watch that, and it was fucking cool.
Some of these movies come out with no notice whatsoever. No advertisement. Just, oh, there's something.
There it is now. No trailer, just cold open right into the world, right into the universe. Yeah, I remember hearing about that one and being like, when the fuck did this come out? Because that's something I would have saw in theaters. I do think that's worth mentioning.
I think so too.
I feel like if it had gotten a limited release, I would have fucking gone to a theater to watch it.
I would have seen it at AMC.
Same. Next one, kind of disappointing. Renfield.
It was, yeah, I like that actor.
Nicholas Hoult.
He's very good.
Nick Cage.
Yeah, both Nicks are good.
I like both of them a lot too, and I just didn't love that movie.
No, it was irritating. Kind of from beginning to end.
Yeah. Just charmless. Just charmless and kind of meandering. There's a much better movie on this list that does something very similar to that movie that we'll get to.
Okay.
But yeah. What were you looking up?
Just Renfield.
Yeah.
I just have my letterboxd open here so that I can remind myself.
What did you think?
I had given it 2.5 out of 5.
Fair.
Fair, exactly.
Any other thoughts on Renfield?
Nah.
Yeah, not worth my time. Worth my time, Saw X.
Yes.
The new Saw.
I was surprised that Saw was back.
I was too, but I was also glad because the last couple had been dog shit.
And I liked them.
You liked the dog shit ones?
Yeah, Spiral and the 3D one.
The book of Saw, hated that. Thought that sucked ass.
Spiral from the Book of Saw.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, like with the Night Chronicles, they were gonna have.
They were
different
books.
People
of
were
Saw.
like, no, just please return to the
John Kramer
to what we usually get.
Yeah, we want Tobin Bell. We want Tobin Bell to go back in time and play a younger version of Kramer, which is what we got, and it was a banger. So people can't say that it doesn't work.
I generally
apparently they're doing
enjoy
another
those
one
movies.
now.
I always have fun with those movies. They're not.
I've seen all of them. I'm not necessarily disagreeing with you. I just thought the last couple were dog shit.
But I also don't. I'm not a huge Saw fan.
Neither am I.
I would go see every Halloween when the new one came out. I'd have no recollection of what the story was leading into it. And every year I'd be like, God, they're really just continuing this same story. And I love it. I love that they do that and are adamant about just sticking to this one ongoing story. Yep. But I stopped following that story around Saw 3, I think.
I would say the first two have the best story. 3 is when it starts to get annoying. And then onward it just descends into dog shit territory for me.
I like Amanda a lot.
Amanda's fine. The chick from the Blob.
Shawnee Smith. And from one of my other favorites, Summer School.
Yeah.
Do you call that horror adjacent?
Horror adjacent. Agreed. Yeah, you showed me Summer School.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I love Blob 85. So I think every time I see Amanda, I'm just like, yeah, you're fucking great. I know. What was your opinion on Scream 6?
I think they're done now. I know they're not done, but
you know they're doing another one.
This series is. Oh, I know. But it's
and
really,
they're bringing back what's her face.
Really silly. What slasher series has like the same protagonist every damn time? And I know she wasn't in that one. She's coming back for the next one.
Well, did you see that? Did you see that this inspired I Know What You Did Last Summer to come back with the original cast, too?
Oh, really?
And there were like 3 or 4 of those, too. So they're doing another one.
I don't think that the Scream series needs to continue. Don't they get tired of...
I like the Scream movies, but I just think it would work better as like a TV show or something.
And
like
you can always count
on...
don't need roughly the same ending every time. is
Yes.
basically going to be somebody taking off the mask and then explaining
That is 100%
all their
what it is.
grievances, and
Yes.
then final battle, and it's always the same.
Yes.
They should have, by now, if you have a slasher series that's coming up on part 7, a supernatural element should have been introduced like at least 2 movies ago.
You're not wrong, but I also feel like the territory they were heading in with this one was getting to something cool. Just because I think we were finally going to get a movie about the person being Ghostface. Like, I think we were finally going to get... I think Melissa Barrera's character in what would have been the next movie was gonna be a killer.
And I think her character is really weak. I don't know.
I didn't love it, but I felt like her murdering someone in the next movie would have been actually really fucking cool. A really nice twist for us to be, like, on the side of Ghostface for a movie. For whatever reason. I just thought that would have twisted up the formula enough to be crazy. But here we are, with another one coming out, the 7th one, and it's going to go back to being fucking about Cindy.
Yeah, which is so silly.
Which is wild. This woman has had enough. I just watched Yellow Jackets, and I'm seeing these, like, older women being revisited by their trauma of when they were, like, 16, when this bullshit goes down in the woods. And I'm just like, leave these girls alone. They've been through enough. And then I think about someone like Cindy, who murdered throughout high school, murdered throughout college, murdered throughout young adulthood, like, murdered through adulthood. And then she gets finally 2 movies of a break. She gets 2 break movies where they leave her alone and something happens somewhere else. And now she's being brought back into the fucking fold again.
And she should have got an ice pick in the head after part 3, probably, like at the beginning. They do with Adrian King with Friday the 13th movies. Your protagonist isn't supposed to keep on going.
I would have loved if Cindy had died 2 movies ago.
Sydney. Are you saying Cindy?
I am, and I'm butchering it. Sydney.
I didn't mean to call you out like that. Sydney Prescott.
Am I doing that because is her name Cindy in scary movies?
I don't have any idea. I don't watch that.
Anna Faris's character?
Maybe.
I think it might be, which is why I'm doing that. But anyway, because I love the scary movies. I watch them all the time. I think they're fucking hilarious. Scream, not super excited for the next one, but I guess we'll talk about that when that comes out now, too. Next one. This one, I feel like we might be able to talk about for a little bit. Because it was interesting to me. And I don't think I've talked about it on the show. At least not in detail. Skinamarink.
I had a hard time sitting through that.
Did you? Just because you were bored? It was too quiet? What was your opinion?
Yeah, it's boring and quiet. Yeah. I didn't think it looked good. I don't really like the shooting something on cheap DV and then fucking with it to make it look like
Oh no, if you shoot something on cheap DV, you kind of have to take it at face value.
I don't like that kind of thing.
I'll edit it in post mentality of that movie was aggravating, 100%.
And far too long for that.
Definitely.
Subject
Oh
matter.
my god, 20, 30, 40 minutes too long. This is one where they should have been given like a tight 80. Like a tight 79, you know? Just something that gets you right over the hour, and then they could just fucking cut it. You know?
Some people claim, really love this movie and had a great experience with it.
Well,
I would never watch this again. I would never watch another movie that this person makes.
So, follow me on this, though.
All right.
This dude does have a better version of this movie. But it's on YouTube. It's his first attempt at doing something like this, and it's called Hell. And it is everything Skinamarink needed to be and wasn't, which is 20 minutes long, telling the same exact story except better. For some reason, this dude did this entire thing already on YouTube, and then someone saw it and said, stretch this out to be almost 2 hours long. It was like an hour 40, wasn't it? Something like that. It was unnecessarily long.
Yes, that's true.
And for the life of me, I'm just like, but he does almost nothing different, and it's not as gruesome. And like, I thought Hell was doubly more gruesome and 100% more visceral. And it's 20 minutes. It's 19 minutes long, Mark. And that was the problem with this one, is that it was just simply too long. But I gotta be honest with you, I kinda liked it. And I don't just like it because of Hell. Hell is a better version of Skinamarink. But while I agree with you that it's not something I'm rushing back to watch again, and it's not something I feel like I need to watch again, it's not even necessarily something I want to recommend to people. For me, personally, I think if this person were given something else, something more, with the same type of feelings and the same type of directorial ability, it can be super fucking interesting. Because there's something about analog horror, at least recently in like video games, that is incredibly interesting and out there and weird and quiet and gross. And Skinamarink hits all of those notes. And when it does it well, in my opinion, it does it really fucking well. Because, like, there are people who, like, and I don't necessarily know if I agree with it 100%, but they just say this movie had me on the edge of my seat the entire fucking time. Because they just feel like they're seeing something they're not supposed to. And, like, it reminds them of, like, a dream that they had. It taps into this weird kind of collective unconscious of, like, we all had that nightmare as a kid, or some type of weird, non-linear, liminal horror type shit that we couldn't justify to ourselves, and we just, like, got over as we grew up. And, like, I actually, like, I certainly feel that way, but at the same time, it's just, like, I've never seen someone try to take that kind of weird, abstract feeling of being, like, terrified as a kid and, like, actually try to adapt it for a film. It's really hard for me to explain, but, like, I'm trying my best when I say that, like, I don't want to recommend this movie for people, because I don't think many people will like it. But I do want to say, if you like liminal analog horror, there's like a new audience for it. If you're into that, then maybe check it out. Or maybe, again, just go watch Hell on YouTube.
That sounds like the safer recommendation. The 20-minute
It is
version.
by the same director, and it is essentially the same product. That being said, go watch the Skinamarink trailer. That trailer fucking bops. But the thing I like the most about Skinamarink is the ending. The ending stuck with me for a little bit. It helped me understand it a little bit more. But you have to sit through like an hour 40 to get to that. And that's the problem. Is that it should have been more of that ending instead of whatever else you have to get through to get there. But you didn't like it.
No.
Fair enough. I barely want to talk about this one. Slaughterhouse.
Yeah, I didn't see it. It looked really silly. I didn't see it.
It's very silly and it's not great. It reminded me of Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I'm not into
the
that
weird
either.
anthropomorphic turkey. Ginger Dead Man. You know that Gary Busey shit. It's more of that.
Yeah.
If you're into that, I guess. I'm not going to recommend it. You and I had a nice discussion, but also disagreement about this one. Stop motion.
Right, I liked that.
And I didn't.
You were scared. I thought it was scary, but it did.
No, I was not scared of stop motion. I just thought it was bad.
I liked it. And I liked the style of the stop motion in the movie. And there was one part that was so gruesome. I actually was... My stomach was kind of like churning a bit. It was somebody was getting their face mashed in, I think. It went on for a very long time.
Oh yeah, she takes fucking people apart.
It was really, really gruesome.
Yeah, it's that chick. She fucking takes it in on that chick who tries showing up. Yeah, here's my thing. You like this movie a lot. I understand why you like this movie a lot. It does play to a lot of the things that you like. I don't know. I just think the stop motion bits just didn't come frequently enough or hit enough for me to like be super interested, and then I just really didn't like the main character, and I questioned the decisions she was making, and I thought it was very predictable. A lot of it I felt like I knew exactly where it was going, and I could have written it on like a napkin, you know, like I could have. It felt very simple to me, and then the thing about the stop motion for me is like I know the dude who directed it from other stop motion stuff, and I know for an example like the stuff he's done before is better. And that's where I'm just like, why when you're making your own first movie you hold back at the stop motion parts instead of going fucking apeshit like you did in ABCs of Death and stuff like that. And then it's just like wild to me that you want to be a little bit more restrained with your own feature presentation. It was like, no, this movie needed the batshit crazy stop motion sequences in order to amp that film the fuck up, because it's just a drag. For me, I just felt like it dragged. And I just didn't like the character too much. Yeah, I mean, Mark liked this one. I disliked this one, but I think we both would still recommend it. Like, tell people to watch it, because I certainly think this dude can do better. If he were to do another movie and he were announced to like be doing another like entirely stop motion thing or whatever, I'd still be like, yeah, totally.
Mm-hmm.
I'd check it out. I just love stop motion. At the end of the day, I love Harryhausen shit, and I grew up with that, and I think a lot of Studio Leica Studio, like Coraline and why am I like blanking on everything they've done? Kubo, Paranorman, that's the good one. I like that one a lot too. The dude who did Nightmare Before Christmas, not necessarily Tim Burton, but like
the director,
the actual director.
He did the James and the Giant Peach movie.
Yes, too. And he, you know, I grew up with that. I grew up with Nightmare Before Christmas as like the penultimate stop motion movie. But then in like high school, I saw Wes Anderson's Fantastic Mr. Fox, and I was just like, even this slaps. Different side of the same coin. But I thought, you know, both of them do what they're awesome at. Stop motion's always interested me. I would say support this movie if only just to support the director and hope that we get more of that shit. What was it? Guillermo del Toro just did Pinocchio.
Right, I didn't watch that.
It was fucking awesome.
Was it?
I heard that. Oh, it's not on this list because I think it predates it, or maybe I didn't want to talk about it because I already talked about it before. But Phil Tippett's Mad God.
I had a hard time with that one.
So did I, but I still appreciated the artistry of it. It was still super interesting to watch. I didn't love it, but I was like, oh, fuck. Look at him.
I said that too.
Look at him doing his thing. So, oh, fuck. Yeah, that's pretty much... That sums up Mad God. Oh, fuck. This one was fun. Talk to me.
Yes, with the hand.
The hand.
I was about to look it up, and I remembered. Nope, with the hand.
The arm with
the
hand.
What a strange sleepover game.
Yes.
Could that be a real game?
No.
It seems hard to believe that kids would.
No, it's a cursed object movie. It's more. It works more as a. It works more as a cursed object movie in my head because I think, this is not something that exists. This does not have the functionality of Ouija. This is not marketable as Ouija.
No.
But I think it's funny that someone took the Ouija board and essentially said, I'm going to go ape shit with it. And that's how you get Talk to Me. This is a fun question. Have you ever done anything with a Ouija board before? Have we had this conversation?
I don't know if we have, but I have Ouija boards for decoration for October.
Yeah.
But I don't believe that they work. I've tried them. I've tried them as a child and as a drunk adult. And, I mean, I think it's funny that it's been marketed as a quote-unquote game for so long. Because it's barely a game.
It's not really a game.
No, it isn't.
It's not really a game. And I also feel like I'm admitting to you, but I've mentioned it on the show before. I've never played with a Ouija board, and I never want to. I'm good. I'm good. You could say I'm scared of Ouija boards. It's fair. You like to say, oh, you're so scared.
I don't say that.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. You do say that. When people leave the drive-in, when a movie has either just started, or if we've ever seen a movie together and someone gets up and leaves for whatever reason, you always turn over and say, oh, they're leaving because they're scared.
They usually are.
No, they're not. They're probably just busy people who are shitty at scheduling things. I also think there are people that sit down and they start watching something and they remember that they're not at home and they're just like, well, if I were at home, I would have just turned this off, but here I am out at a theater and I hate what I'm in the middle of, so they just get up and leave. I don't think it's because they're scared.
Who can say? Who knows why these people leave?
Who can say? Fair enough.
Don't we know for sure?
Fair enough. What was your opinion on Talk to Me? You like it or not?
I liked it.
The fun side of that conversation is those dudes came from YouTube, which is the second time I've mentioned that on the show. The dude who did Skinamarink came from YouTube.
Right, yes.
The dude who has done the Light movie. What's it called? With the light switch?
The Light Switch movie.
And there's like a shadowy demon woman who like follows people around when the lights are out.
Right, yes. You can't get away as long as the lights are...
Yeah, when the lights are on.
You can turn a light on.
Yeah.
But then as soon as the light
It's
goes
called Lights Out.
Yes, it is.
That dude came from YouTube.
I think I know that.
He did the Shazam movies. He's pretty good. He's doing another horror movie. I forgot what about or what he's doing, but he's working on something else. Good for him. Talk to Me reminded me of that a little bit, but again, those guys are from YouTube. It's fucking cool.
It's cool.
It's fucking cool. Like, our episode with, the Backrooms game that I made you play just came out. And, in that episode, we talk about Kane Parsons being picked up by A24 to do a Backrooms movie. And that's a kid who's been making Backrooms stuff on his YouTube. And it looks fucking great every time he does it. And so a studio actually went to him and said, make a movie out of this and make us money. And he was like, sure.
Oh,
It was a kid in high school. How fucking awesome is that? But anyway, Talk to Me made me feel that way. I alluded to this earlier when I said we're going to get to more masked killer movies. There's two right in a row. One of them's good, one of them's not.
Wow.
Thanksgiving, Eli Roth, and Totally Killer.
I did not like either of these.
You didn't like either.
No.
I liked Thanksgiving.
I almost went to a theater and watched Thanksgiving when I was in St. Martin, and after I got home,
I did go to a theater and watch Thanksgiving.
I was really glad that I hadn't wasted time. I had gone to
the Bethlehem Theater with Deputy Dewey, and both he and I watched Thanksgiving, and we liked it thoroughly.
I thought that.
But he also obviously loves Scream movies, because his name is Deputy Dewey.
That's true, yes. I have to take it back, though. I don't think I've seen Totally Killer.
Totally Killer is the one with the chick who plays Sabrina. And they're...
No, I was going to watch this.
She gets sent back in time, and she's trying to protect her mom from a serial killer that got loose.
I was going to watch it, and then something told me not to, and I
think it's on Amazon, right? I believe it was an Amazon original, Totally Killer.
I think that you're correct about that. So, no, I have not watched that movie. I shouldn't have said I didn't like it. But I definitely didn't like Thanksgiving.
No, if you didn't like Thanksgiving, you definitely would not have liked Totally Killer. So it's fair. Yeah, no. I liked Thanksgiving. I didn't like Totally Killer, and I think it's just because I like what Eli Roth can do with a Scream movie, and I'm glad that he dug out his own niche in the Masked Killer, anthology to do something like that. I thought that movie made me think that Masked Killer movies can still be fun, and there shouldn't be a reason why we don't have, a holiday anthology series done by, Eli Roth, where he just picks a different holiday and does something fucking crazy about it. And now that I say that, I'm reminded that there's literally a Valentine's Day one coming out next month called Hard Eyes, which looks pretty fun. But I'm into that. Are you not into Masked Killer movies anymore, Mark Rooster?
Well,
have you grown out of them as I look at your table full of Friday the 13th merchandise?
I don't like it when everything leads up to the big reveal where somebody takes their mask off and you go, "Oh, it was you the whole time."
But that is a
Masked
Killer movie.
"Yes, and here's why I did it." Yeah. So, I like the original trailer that Eli Roth did for Thanksgiving with Grindhouse.
Yes.
Was a take on slasher movies.
Yes.
And then what the movie ended up being was
a Masked
like a
Killer
Scream
movie.
type of movie. Yeah,
there's a difference between a slasher and a Masked Killer movie, and you like the supernatural aspect of a slasher movie.
Yeah, but there are plenty of slasher movies aren't supernatural. They don't have to be.
They don't have to be, but what's your best example?
Halloween's not supernatural.
That's a good point, but it gets to...
Neither is Friday the 13th.
It goes supernatural.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If the franchise goes on a long enough time, if it's a slasher series, it ought to...
Yeah.
Eventually they're gonna...
Yeah. No, it's fair. I'm open to it, but I love the idea of him just doing a bunch of holiday Masked Killer movies. I think we could use more of them, because I think they're funny. This one, I don't know why I wrote it down or why it's on my list, but I had to include it, I guess. The Blackening.
I did not see that. That looks stupid.
I saw it and I actually liked it. I don't recommend it to anyone, though. It's not good. That's not why I liked it. I liked it because it plays to all those funny stereotypes, and it really does it with a really good tongue-in-cheek kind of cheap nature, and that's what I like about the old Wayne's scary movie movies, is that the tongue-in-cheek nature. Now, those movies were silly. Those felt like Airplane, and I think that's one of the funniest movies ever made. But like the Leslie Nielsen movies, old
Zucker Abrams
old
movies.
Yes, old parody movies. it has an element of that, but then plays too much into the like Tyler Perry syndrome of black comedy, which is just we're all just gonna be loud black people, and that's gonna be the funny part of the movie is that we're all loud black people. And there's something funny about that, especially when every character plays their character originally and it is actually like a, I don't know, it's like a mix of like You're Next and The Strangers. It's like a bunch of people get trapped in a house and they have to defend themselves, but there are other people on the outside of the house trying to get in to get to them. And it's not quite Masked Killer, but there's like a You're Next style twist in there. I don't know if you've seen it.
There's home invasion movies.
Home Invasion.
Are kind of popular.
Yes. And I didn't know that that's what Blackening was going to be. From the trailer, I thought it was going to be more, I don't know, Scream, I Know You Did Last Summer type bullshit, like Masked Killer or Slasher, just something in there. But instead it was Home Invasion, and I was like, okay, whatever, if that's what we're getting into. Like, that's literally what the movie is. I liked that it kept me guessing, because every time I thought something was going to happen based on, like, a stereotype, because that's what the movie is, it then does the opposite, and I was like, oh, okay, cool, you know. So that was the neat side of it. But would I necessarily recommend it to people? I don't fucking know. It's just on my list because it's horror. What did you think of the Boogeyman adaptation? Stephen King.
It was good. That story is only like 6 or 7 pages.
I was going to say like 8 pages tops.
So they had a lot of room to develop.
I liked the cast. It did have me kind of rolling my eyes a couple times, but I blame that more on Stephen King and the director more than anything else. Just some weird acting choices, weird editing choices, cut choices. I remember being like, why did they do that? Well, you know. That's also me just being picky. I can accept that it was just a mediocre adaptation of, like you said, very short source material. I don't know if I would get into any more of that. If you like Stephen King, go watch it.
They're gonna eventually adapt everything the man's ever written.
It's tough to say that, though, because some of his stuff is just so weird.
It is. I don't literally mean everything.
You might.
But there have been a few movies now called The Boogeyman. You know?
Yes. Do you recommend it? Yes? No? Any positive
I'll
or
say the
negative
same
thoughts?
as you. If you think you might like a movie called The Boogeyman...
About that concept,
then...
vaguely inspired by Stephen King.
I gave it 3 out of 5, which is alright.
I think, yeah. Sure. Man, you could tell me how disappointed you were in this. I'll listen to you.
What's that?
The Exorcist Believer.
I remember getting up at about the halfway point. It was about a 2-hour movie, and about an hour I got up to go use the bathroom, and I was thinking, man, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens next. This is interesting. Mm-hmm. And then I came back from the bathroom, and everything I saw after that point sucked. Yeah. It was like I was watching a good movie,
went to
and
a different
dipped
dimension.
out for a second and came back and watched a really terrible movie.
I was skeptical from the beginning. Even as I was watching the beginning of it, I was like, this is going to be bad, isn't it? And then as it went on, it just got worse. And I remember being so disappointed because, again, at Horror Nights that preceding year, before the movie even came out, they had a house on both coasts. And just like Insidious 5, it was a fucking banger. It was an awesome fucking house. But let me tell you, every intersection between you and the next little girl scene was filled with, like, horned white demons with 3 red eyes and, like, crazy claws and shit. And I remember going, like, whoever this demon dude is, whoever this Pazuzu fucking demon dude is, he better be, like, integral to the plot of this fucking movie because he was in every hallway in that goddamn house. I watched the fucking movie and you maybe see a shot of him, one single shot at the very end, when What's-Her-Face is getting dragged down in the other one's place. You maybe get one shot of some demon-y looking dude. Let me tell you, he was all over this fucking Horror Nights house, man. and he was scary and it was creepy and I hated it. And that house fucking rocked. And then I went and I saw the movie and I said, this sucks.
I'm definitely ready for David Gordon Green and his writer friend, what's his name, from Righteous Gemstones, Danny McBride.
Yeah.
To return to doing comedies and no more horror movies.
No more horror movies.
I'm good on horror movies from those guys.
Yeah, I'm fine. What was the last thing I was gonna say? They bought the franchise for like $1 billion, so of course Universal's making another one. They need to recoup whatever fucking loss. They promised that they were gonna do these two back to back, but it didn't actually happen, and they dropped Gordon Green after the first one bombed. They're bringing in my boy Mike Flanagan to do the next one, and if there's anyone who could fix an Exorcist movie, in my opinion, it is Mike the fucking Flanagan.
I understand why.
I love him.
So do I, but I just don't need more Exorcist movies.
No.
This was never a series.
No, you're 100% right. You were 100% right. There was no reason for this to be a series. That being said, I am very excited about the prospect of a Mike Flanagan Exorcist movie.
Well, I guess we'll see.
I love Hill House. I love Hill House so much.
I like him, yeah.
I like Midnight Mass. I like Dr. Sleep.
I like Dr. Sleep a lot.
I liked fucking...
Hush.
Yep. Oh, I loved Hush. Yeah. But the dude is a hot commodity. Everyone wants him for everything now. So, hopefully he sticks to his guns on a couple things and he doesn't turn into like Guillermo del Toro, who says he's gonna do everything and never fucking does anything. So, anyway, Exorcist. Look forward to that because the last one sucked ass. I don't know if this movie was necessary in hindsight. As much as I liked it. The Last Voyage of the Demeter.
Yeah, it's an interesting idea to have a story about...
Bottleneck. Bottleneck the first chapter of Dracula.
It didn't really work altogether. No. I wouldn't recommend the movie.
No. It again took the first chapter of their original Dracula novel and drew it out to be shorter than 2 hours.
The characters were all boring.
Yes, it was very bland.
And
as much as I liked those actors, both of the main guys,
agreed.
Even the top three.
I recall that Dracula did a lot of shrieking in that movie.
Yes, he was very bat screech like.
That's not the Dracula that I like.
Animal Dracula? Nah.
Screechy Dracula?
Nah, no thanks. We'll get to that too. I'm gonna say pass, but I did like it.
Yeah,
I thought it was fine.
I didn't like it.
If you like B creature feature, bottlenecks, go ahead and do that shit. This last one I'm gonna shit on for a minute because I was really looking forward to it and it really fucking disappointed me. This is gonna be niche. I don't know if you even know this one. The Outwaters.
I don't think I know it.
Yeah, don't. Just don't. Blair Witch-esque POV handycam footage.
Well, I'm not going to watch that.
You don't like that already?
No.
You don't like... That's a genre you don't touch?
No, I touch it, but I'm always biased against it. If I'm looking for something to
It's
watch.
good that I ask, because do you like the VHS movies?
I only watched the first one.
Oh, you haven't watched any of the other ones?
No.
Okay, then I might need to... I was going to have you back for an episode with a buddy of mine where all that we do is talk about the VHS movies.
I won't be very good at that episode.
No, you wouldn't. Would you be down to watch all of them?
I don't think so.
Does that sound awful to you?
That sounds awful. No, I guess it might be alright.
Because the second one is awesome.
I've heard that the first one is not the best.
First one is not the best. There's like 1 or 2 good sequences in the first one out of the like 5 or 6 that there are. Second one is a banger. Second one almost all of them hit. Third one sucks ass. Fourth one is okay. Fifth one is okay. And then this last one that they just did was awesome. And then there's like a mixed 7th one in there, and there's 2 spin-offs, and they're questionable at best. Anyway. The Outwaters, disappointing as fuck is an understatement. The trailer is a bunch of people getting lost in the desert, and it feels like they turn on each other, and it gets, your cameraman is witness to what feels like a bunch of friends murdering each other out in the desert. And then it doesn't do that at all, and instead starts to go weird supernatural twist. And it's super non-linear, too, which is also a huge fucking turnoff.
I wonder why I've never heard of this movie. I see 110 minutes, which makes me nervous.
No. All the feelings you had about Skinamarink, you will feel about this one. This one is you are following a pinhole of light and listening to a guy whine in a desert for more than half the movie.
Yeah,
because it's just dark. Because it's just darkness. You don't get anything. It's a guy running in the dark. And yes, it's visceral, but there's nothing to fucking show for it, and the plot is all over the place. And it's really disappointing because there's a supernatural twist, and you thought it would only improve something with a plot like that. It doesn't. And that's my list of 2023. Which was the shorter list, so we have a little bit of a ways to go. Getting into 2024, moving forward. A Quiet Place Day 1.
Liked it. I
also
have
liked it.
A bias against prequels anymore, but I liked that movie, and it's self-contained story.
I think that franchise can do that, and I'd be okay with it.
Yeah, just showing this
different snapshots, different parts
people.
of time.
Yeah.
Do like a Quiet Place year 8. I want to see a Quiet Place year 15. I want to see the vast future Terminator-esque apocalypse future of these monsters just fucking owning the country. I wanted to go into the negative because that's what I liked about the first one. I liked the shit show quality of what happens in that city and how bad people handled that. That was really fun to watch.
It was.
Because I didn't love the first one, and I thought the second one was a little on par. I guess I just really like Cillian Murphy because he was in the second one. But yeah, first one was great. Or day one was great. I mean, that I really am starting to like that Joseph Quinn guy. He could be in more stuff. I'm okay with.
You're
him.
all right with if he.
And I liked Lupita. I always liked Lupita. She's
very
good. And she's good in everything I've seen her in. So that's fine. That's fine. They did a great job. And I love Jimon Hounsou. He's not in enough stuff in my opinion. But yeah, fine movie. Good. It was a good start to this year because it was one of the first ones I remember seeing. I think it was February of 24 or something.
I saw it at the drive-in.
Oh really? It was a summer flick? Was it May?
It was the Long Legs was the new movie, but
they
Quiet Place Day 1 hadn't been out that long, I don't think.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
it
it might
was
have been
early
spring.
summer.
Okay. Um, I liked this next one a lot, and it's kind of my. I referenced it earlier when we were talking about Renfield, a movie that does that plot but better or even similar. Abigail.
That was good.
I think the the dudes behind that movie, I think they're called Radio Silence. Um, they started on VHS, and I think they're awesome. I think they're good guys. They did Scream 5 and 6. They did Ready or Not, and they did Abigail. And I've liked all of those things, including their contribution to VHS 1. Um, so I'm all for them. They also started off on YouTube. I was waiting to mention that as well. But whatever these guys do, I'm down for it. I know they're doing a Ready or Not 2 next, because they were bummed that they got dropped from Scream.
Oh, yes, I read about that.
When they kind of sided with Melissa Barrera.
Yeah, I read something about that.
They just didn't want to do a movie about Sydney. They just didn't want to go back. They wanted to continue their arc. And Spotlight was like, nah, fuck you. Anyway, Abigail was really good. And I wish those dudes luck with whatever they're doing. Because if Abigail's any example of what they can do if they get like more fun sides of their repertoire, then cool. I'm here for it. What did you think of Alien Romulus?
Thought it was pretty good. I liked it overall.
Yeah.
Another prequel, but
yeah.
it got really icky
Between
towards the
quote.
end. I liked how gross it got at the end.
Yeah.
But it was weird what they did with Ash with the computer in order to get another performance out of
Was it Ian Holm?
Ian Holm. That's a little weird. I didn't think about it much while I was watching the movie, though. And
apparently they improved that effect for home release, but I hate that that's a thing.
Yeah, it is
that they continue working on stuff like that.
Definitely.
Even after the movie's already come out. But also the subject of posthumous. It didn't need to be him.
No.
It could have just been any other android. In fact, they could have made like a cameo out of it and had casted like Guy Pearce or Michael Fassbender or whatever, just to kind of wrap up some sort of narrative,
That's an interesting idea.
that they're all in the same universe. Especially when we already have the dude playing Andy in that movie. Showing that there are like other models, that were present at the time. And that kid kicked ass. That kid was the best part of the movie. And I liked him so much in that I was astounded when I Googled his cast history. He's doing Stephen King's Long Walk.
Okay.
He's going to be in Long Walk, and I can't wait to see him in that because that's going to be awesome. I have a feeling that's going to be a really good movie. At least I hope it is. The cast is
a good story.
The cast is fucking great. I love Long Walk. I've been waiting a long time for them. I feel like they could have gotten away with that when Hunger Games and stuff was at its height.
Oh, yes.
Battle Royale was a thing like 30 years ago, but Hunger Games really took that whole let's make kids fucking fight for survival and ran with it as a franchise, and then we got all these YA novel adaptations with a similar plot, like Maze Runner and Divergent and all that shit. Anyway, my opinion of Alien Romulus, I liked aspects of it a lot because I like the director. I think Fede is very talented. Unfortunately, I just didn't like the movie. I just didn't like the plot, and I didn't like how little the alien was in it. And I questioned a lot of the character decisions and a lot of the plot decisions. And I feel like if I'm going to have a stance on any of the Alien movies, I need to have what I would consider a remedial amount of knowledge and opinion about the other movies. And when I say that I like the first two movies the most, I don't think I'm in any sort of minority. But then you start to wonder why they're remaking those movies again. And then they're sneaking in parts of the other movies that weren't as good. Like, Prometheus, for what it is, it's not a good Alien movie. It works better on its own without any connection to Alien being its own thing. The Alien connection is the weakest part of that movie. And then they do Covenant, which just eats the entire fucking cake on the same plot. It's just the studio saying, Ridley, you can't be weird with your Alien movies. You gotta make them more like your first Alien movie. So bring back the xenomorph and do that shit again. And it always sucks, at least in my opinion, it always sucks when someone tries to tell him to do something like that instead of just let him do his own thing. So, in my opinion, Covenant was awful, and Prometheus was okay. But the first two Alien movies are awesome, and James Cameron, I love what he does with the second one, turning it into action, whatever. Cool. Third one, what Fincher did to some of those characters is unforgivable. But a lot of studio meddling, don't need to get into it. I actually like the fourth Alien movie. I like the director, the French guy. I like a lot of his movies that he's done. But I agree with the critical opinion that it had a lot of off parts about it. Now, that being said, the biggest controversy of that fourth movie was the hybrid at the end of the movie. Fede literally just took that from the fourth movie and put it in Romulus with a Prometheus skin. And people, loved it. And I was like, no, guys, this has been done before. I was like, 4 did the hybrid, and you're just dressing it up to look like Prometheus. You're just...
I get what you're saying, but
you're doing the same thing again. And
he did it better, though.
And if it didn't really work the first time, then we didn't need to go back there, is my opinion.
Yeah. He did a better job of it than they did in Alien 4, though.
No, I agree, but, that's... For me, that's still lame.
It is. Yeah.
And then I didn't like the plot armor for, all of the characters in the entire third act. The alien literally catches her when she's falling to her death. That did not make any fucking sense to me. And then his delivery, I love Andy in that movie, but his delivery of the get away from her, you bitch, was just fucking terrible. That should have just been cut.
Definitely.
That entire part should have just been cut. And then what's-her-face, fucking Dora the Explorer makes a ton of dumbass decisions. Isabella Merced, she's great, but dumbass. And then the alien's, not even in it, and there's, one scene where they just fucking keep on going, just shooting, 14 fucking aliens in one scene. You get a little bit of Alien 1, you get a little bit of Alien 2, you get a little bit of Alien 3, you get a lot of Alien 4, you get a lot of Prometheus, and then you get the worst parts of Covenant all shoehorned into one movie. And I'm just like, ugh. We've seen all of this before on larger scales, and some of them suck. So why would you want to do another one of that? And that's, your opinion of Scream, those movies just don't need to exist anymore. That's my opinion of Alien. If you're not gonna do Alien for what it could be, which is new and interesting and go in a weird fucking direction with it, which maybe they're bringing back Ridley to continue doing that, I'm of the opinion you should just fucking leave it alone.
I agree. That's another one. That's another series.
They've done it. They've done it. If you're just gonna do it again, then don't. And that's just that's my opinion on a lot of things, but especially Alien.
I agree.
There aren't many franchises I would say that about, but I guess I'm protective of Alien because it's I don't want to see it do I don't want to see it do the Terminator thing.
No.
The Terminator thing is where they took 2 good movies and they've just continuously sucked ass since.
Yeah.
And Alien is getting there, in my opinion. Anyway, it was really successful, so I imagine Disney's gonna milk the shit out of that now. Did you watch Apartment 7A?
Yes, didn't like it.
I did. Why didn't you like it? And this is, I believe, Amazon.
No, that was,
Paramount?
yeah, I think it is. Yeah, Paramount.
Okay.
I'm a huge fan of Rosemary's Baby.
Yes, Rosemary's Baby
and
is
the
awesome.
movie. And
Okay.
this was just a pointless prequel. Hey, are you interested in knowing the life story of the girl who died at the beginning of Rosemary's Baby? Here it is.
Mm-hmm.
Just completely unnecessary.
Yeah. Very unnecessary. But I still kind of liked it. It's the opposite of my opinion on Alien Romulus. Like, I don't know. I'm not someone who loves Rosemary's Baby. I love Alien. I love the first Alien. Even more than the second one. I love the first Alien. And so, for me not being super into Rosemary's Baby, I was able to watch this and just accept it for what it was. Which is them milking a horror movie that they don't, they have the rights to, but they want to make another of the same.
Yes.
And so they just hire someone to tell the same story. I don't know. I like Julia Garner. And I thought the ending was fun. But it was super predictable. The acting wasn't anything amazing. I don't know. I guess I'm just saying I had fun with it.
It sounds like it.
But you really just didn't. You didn't.
Yeah, I just thought it was kind of pointless altogether.
Okay. You didn't have fun with it at all.
No. It is better than Son of Rosemary, which was the sequel novel that Ira Levin wrote to his own book.
Okay.
So it's not the worst thing in the Rosemary's Baby
continuity
universe.
Yeah, fair enough. This one's left field. Let me know if you saw this one. Arcadian, Nicolas Cage.
It's on my list. I haven't got around to it yet.
I don't want to talk about it too much because you haven't seen it and I want to know your opinion when you do. Because it's nothing I would say to rush to. It's nothing I would say to rush to.
Hold on a minute.
Did you see Arcadian?
Hold on a second. Yes, I did. Now I remember it. Yeah.
It's better
it's a
that
good
you're
thing
saying
this letterbox is really helpful.
It's better that you say you didn't see something than you just outright say I did but I don't remember.
Well, sometimes if a movie doesn't make too much of an impression on me, it goes right out of my head. And
oh no, that's fair. I had to write down a list.
Yeah, looking back at my review on Letterboxd from last summer for Arcadian, I'm not surprised that I forgot all about it. But actually what I had said at the time was maybe if I hadn't just seen A Quiet Place Day 1 last night, I'd have liked this movie a little more. So
it is a poor man's Quiet Place. That is a very astute observation. What was your Letterboxd rating?
2.5.
I don't know. I'd probably float around the same area. I'd probably agree with you. It doesn't do enough, and when it does, it's fucking weird. I really don't know how I felt about those monsters. They do a lot of really weird shit throughout the movie. And this was one I watched at home. I don't know if it had a theatrical release. I certainly didn't see it in theaters.
It played at AMC.
I certainly didn't see it in theaters because I didn't believe in it enough. And I was glad I didn't when I watched it at home because those monsters were fucking weird. I have no idea what was going on there. They were like wolf marsupial insects. It was very hard to categorize them, and it made me uncomfortable. They do you remember?
Yeah, a little bit.
They did this weird snappy mouth thing, where they just like clack their face, but then they would like rip people apart with their teeth. But they would also distend their abdomens to consume people.
Yeah.
There's a scene where one of them opens up its stomach and it just flops out onto a woman and consumes her. Like a big toothy net. Very weird. It's like someone took all the scary anatomy of a bunch of different creatures and just put it into one. And then they said, that'll do. Because it has fur and it has teeth. So it's of mammalian variety. But then it has insect appendages and abilities. Which is why I was so confused. Because there's a scene where they do some ant-like stuff, like they turn into a big old wheel and they chase a truck. Which I also thought was fucking weird. That these creatures became a literal wheel and drove after a truck using their bodies.
And it's not a better movie, even though that happens.
Even though that happens. Even though it gets fucking Looney Tunes about it. A Quiet Place puts it to shame. You said it 100%. When there are better movies out there that are doing the same exact thing, you might as well cancel your fucking shit or just save it for a couple years. Certainly don't release it the same year another movie is coming out that has the exact same plot, which is ironic because there's another one on our list that did the same exact fucking thing. Did you watch Azrael?
Yes. Yeah, I don't,
The one with, like, no dialogue?
That didn't make a big impression.
No, and it wouldn't. The chick from Ready or Not, I like her a lot. She plays the main chick.
Yeah, that's another Samara Weaving. I like her a lot.
Yes, Samara Weaving.
She's the babysitter also.
Yes, she is babysitter.
Yeah, Azrael was very repetitive. And
disappointing in my opinion. I liked the ending, but that's about it.
That's another 2.5 out of 5 for me.
Fair. Short summary for audience. Apocalypse where the rapture has happened and the people that are left are kind of living a hell on earth scenario where burnt demonish humans go around eating people. Except it's not as interesting as it sounds. It's just kind of a zombie apocalypse at the end of the day. And everyone has taken on a weird pseudo-religious understanding that there was a reason that they were not raptured and saved. So they try to, like, make up for it by, like, doing the Old Testament by, like, sacrificing people to the demons and shit. And that's the best aspect of it. But then it does that for, you know, a half an hour too long and nothing interesting about it. It's just running around the woods with guns just yelling at each other. Well, not yelling at each other because it's all silent. The entire movie is silent. The sinners have believed that they've some of their sin is located to how they treated each other verbally in pre-rapture. So the understanding is that because these monsters go off of sound, again, Quiet Place, very similar, but bad. These demons are attracted by sound, so if they hear you speaking, you know, your voice elicits the word of God, quote unquote, they're gonna fucking hunt you down and eat you or some shit. So anyway, the ending is cool, but that's about it. I won't spoil that. This one was weird to me. Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts?
I thought it was fine. I didn't need a sequel to Beetlejuice, but
Same.
I enjoyed seeing Tim Burton do his macabre side and
his signature shtick.
Fun animation. Yeah, so I enjoyed it, but it's not something that I'm gonna watch a bunch or anything.
Agreed. I had some friends who really loved it, and I remember being like, "Why?" And they were like, "Well, because it does this, this, and this." And I'm like, "Yeah, it does what the first movie does." And they're like, "Yeah, but more." And I was like, "That's not the answer, though. Not for this franchise. No, you could do Beetlejuice adjacent. You could have something. He could do something really fun and original that feels like Beetlejuice but isn't. I just think the character of Beetlejuice worked so much better 20 to 30 years ago. I was not sold on what they were doing in this new one.
Yeah, I agree.
It just doesn't feel like a world that exists to me. I thought it was fine, though. If you like Beetlejuice, go see it, but I didn't think it was anything to write home about. Not necessarily. I loved this next one. Loved it unabashedly. Can continue talking about it like I loved it. Blink Twice.
Yeah, I like that too.
Zoe Kravitz's directorial debut starring Channing Tatum.
She's good.
She was very good. I did not... Someone had to point this out to me. I had a bit of a moment. Someone had to point this out to me, Mark. After the fact, hindsight, Diddy parties.
Related to this movie?
Weird billionaire, millionaire dude invites a bunch of people to his island and they all take advantage of a bunch of women because they're rich assholes and they have the ability to do so. In hindsight, it makes me feel like Zoe was trying to say something about Hollywood.
Yeah.
But at the time that it was coming out, I just thought it was a wildly entertaining movie. The hindsight doesn't change anything to me, but after showing Alley Cat the movie, she just could not stop talking about the allegories towards the Diddy parties.
It's interesting.
The allegations of what people got away with at those parties and shit.
I watched this movie September 5 last year.
I've watched this movie 3 times.
And when did all that stuff come out in the news? Last summer?
Yes.
Okay, so it was a little before that.
Yes, concurrently in hindsight, it gives that movie a more interesting, like, context. But it's not necessary.
Right.
Because I didn't know about it before going into the movie, and then I saw the movie, and then Alley Cat had to point it out to me. That, like, context would suggest that Zoe might have been inspired for this story. Whoever wrote this story might have been inspired by stuff that was going around at the time. And I love the twist, and I love the acting, and the pacing is tight and fantastic. It tells a very tight story. I loved it. I really do.
I didn't feel that strongly about it, but I definitely will look out for the next movie.
There's another movie on this list that I watched at the same time as watching this one. Like, we watched them, Alley Cat and I did a back-to-back.
Oh, I thought you had played both movies at the same time.
No.
Just pick up what you can
at
from each
home,
one.
we did a double feature. And Blink Twice was the second movie in our double feature.
Okay.
And we walked away liking both of them the same amount, and I'll get to the other one in a second. Another movie this year that I fucking loved. I'm going to say 2024 was really good, because there's a lot of movies on this list that I haven't even gotten to yet that I liked a lot. This one is one of them. We were talking about him earlier, M. Night Shyamalan. Caddo Lake on HBO.
Yeah, I haven't seen that.
I'm going to say go out of your way to watch that.
Okay.
M. Night, I think he's just producer on this one. But it dips its toe into what made his older movies so good. Now, it never quite goes full whisper, tight, good cinematography. It never gets that intimate as, like, Sixth Sense or Unbreakable Signs. It never gets that tight. But the larger mystery of this kid going missing and a town's investigation of trying to find out what happens with the supernatural twist, it's worth it.
Okay.
I watched the trailer and I didn't know there was a supernatural twist in the trailer. I don't think it makes itself evident. I think if they had, it would have gotten more people. Because it paints itself to just be this kid gone missing type of drama. You know, we're down in the bayou. It's like flooded Georgia, New Orleans type area. People could go missing all the time. There are gators all over the place. It's just that type of environment. These people just live on the swamp. There's a supernatural twist. And it's fucking awesome. And once you see it, and it does a really good nonlinear thing where you realize you've been watching two different things instead of the same story. when that dime drops, that movie is elevated, and I'm just letting you know. Go out of your way to watch Caddo Lake, and it's another movie I thought was really good this year. This one I liked. I don't know if I loved. Cuckoo.
Yeah, I thought Cuckoo was alright.
I thought Cuckoo was alright. I liked the monstery, creaturey thing. The cuckoo.
The cuckoo itself.
The cuckoo. And I like Dan Stevens in like everything. So he was probably the reason I saw this movie. But the weird, screamy, girl-faced, masked creature thing really worked for me. And that trailer slapped. Whoever cut the Cuckoo trailer knew they need a promotion, they need a raise. They did a good job. Because in my opinion, that trailer was the reason I went to that theater.
Same, yeah.
That part in the trailer where the actress is riding her bike home after work, and you see the shadow following her on the ground, and someone is like running behind her on the bike, and she slowly sees the shadow and turns around, and there's a person like 2 feet behind her just fucking reaching out for her. That scene fucking carried me. That scene was the reason I saw that movie, and they included that in the trailer, and I remember being like, done, I'm there. That scene alone was like, I need to see this. Now, what I will say is the movie, of course, does not keep that pace for the entire movie.
Right.
It goes very hard into left field creature feature. It goes very hard into weird kind of European horror. There's a weird kind of atmosphere to it. But that being said, Dan Stevens' German accent, I'm good. I'm ready.
He's good. I liked him in The Guest.
Yes, I love him in everything. I really do mean that. He's fantastic in everything he's in. Any other thoughts on Cuckoo other than that you thought it was all right?
No, I don't think so.
What's the actress's name? All that I know is that she is trans.
I can't...
Hunter Schafer?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Hunter Schafer?
Yeah, she's really good in Euphoria.
I'm reminded by Euphoria, yeah.
Yeah, Euphoria.
And she was in the new Hunger Games. The Snakes and Songbirds. It was okay, it was fine. I think Hunter Schafer is attractive and pretty and young and can scream queen her scream queen heart out. I have no opinion on the trans nature of that actress. I think she does a fantastic job in that movie. I'm here for her. I'll support her in whatever scream queen territory she wants to continue in the future, because apparently she's open to it. That's the reason she did that movie. Anyway, next one, weird one, Daddy's Head.
No, I didn't see that.
You did not see Daddy's Head. Do you have an interest in Daddy's Head? Is it on your list anywhere?
I do not have it on my list.
I feel like Mark Rooster would like it.
There was a reason that I didn't look into that one, but I don't know. I can't think of what it was.
I thought it was going to be foreign. I thought it was going to be foreign, like subtitled. And it's not. It's British. It's English.
Well, that doesn't persuade me either way.
Well, some people hate that shit. Some people can't listen to British people talk. They're just obnoxious.
I don't know anybody like that.
Oh, I certainly do. I don't want to get into it too much because, like Caddo Lake or anything else that on this list that you might not have seen that I want to recommend to you, I don't want to reveal too much. But there's, again, very, very early on in this movie, there's a weird supernatural twist, and it hits. And it slaps, and the nature of it is really cool. And the moments where it's in the movie is really good. It's creepy. It's scary. It's weird. The moments that they nail it, they fucking nail it. Unfortunately, there's like 70 minutes of fluff surrounding the nailed parts. I feel like I'm saying the same thing that I said for Skinamarink, which is just like, it's not for everyone. It's obtuse, it's abstract, it's weird. It's better than Skinamarink. It has an actual plot. I'll give you that. Basic plot for anyone who's interested: kid loses his dad. Has to live with his stepmom. His stepmom never wanted a kid, was only dating the dad because she loved the dad, she didn't love the kid. It's now kind of a nightmare situation for her because she's stuck with this kid that's not even hers. The mom's already out of the picture. She died when the kid was younger. When the dad dies, the kid has to live with the stepmom. She's not evil, she's just young and never wanted kids, so it's just awkward. And the kid is naturally, having lost his second parent, broken, lost, isolated, what have you. There's a lot of drama. It could be a lot. It could be heavy. But this kid finds this, like, entity, I'll say, that has his dad's face. And it talks to him throughout the movie and, like, at night and shit. And it tries to convince him to do things. And it's very boogeyman-esque. And it's very supernatural. And it's creepy. And when they nail it, they fucking nail it. And I really do mean that. Like, there's like 1 or 2 scenes where this kid opens up like a vent in his room and the face is just like shrouded in darkness, just fucking sitting there. And it's unnatural and it's fucking weird. It's attached to a body, but you don't want to see it. It doesn't look great. But that's the reason it's called Daddy's Head. So I'll leave it at that. I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying it's something I loved. I'm saying it's different. It's fucking weird. And the parts that hit. So take that for whatever you will. This next one was kind of aggravating, kind of fun. I don't know. Don't Move on Netflix. Sam Raimi produced.
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet, but I have it on my list.
So, my general opinion is the kid from American Horror Story who plays the killer in this movie is likable. He's cool. He's fun. I liked him in whatever seasons of American Horror Story he was in, and I always felt like he's a good enough looking guy that he could pull doing something else somewhere else. Fine. Sure. Cool. This movie, he is the best part of that movie. And it's very Cabin by the Lake-esque. This guy is just going around killing people and he just gets away with it because of the isolated nature of where he does it. And how he does it. He's methodical. But it has all the same problems like Trap did. Which is just like, every time they write this character to be like, I'm smart. I'm gonna work my way out of this. It's really just luck. The character's not smart. The character is not acting or thinking his way out of the situation. Yeah. He's just lucky that things happen around him to suggest the plot just needs to move in a certain direction. And that's the worst problem with this movie and Trap, is that, like, none of this would actually happen because these people are incompetent.
Right.
So that's my feeling about Don't Move. It's fun, and I can understand why Sam Raimi produced it, because it's very, I don't know, psycho-ish, psycho-adjacent. But I don't know if I would recommend it. It's a fun watch, but, like, don't go out of your way.
I'm gonna watch it at some point.
Don't run. It's fine that it's on streaming.
Right.
You know? It's accessible. But yeah. I just want to keep moving. We were talking about Quiet Place adjacent, with Arcadian. Here's the other one. Elevation, starring Anthony Mackie. Just came out like 2 months ago.
Yeah, I watched that, and I thought it was alright.
I thought it was alright, too. And I do... And I really do measure it up to Marina Baccarin is just awesome.
And Anthony Mackie.
And Anthony Mackie's okay.
Only okay.
In my opinion, he's just okay. I don't love him, I don't hate him. I think he's fine.
I like him.
To me, he's like... I don't know. To me, he's like... I don't know, that feels mean, now that I said that. In my head.
Yeah, you haven't said anything.
In my head, I said he's like... To me, I feel the same way about him as I do as, like, Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Which is like... Yeah, I'll see the movies that he's doing, but I don't necessarily think any of them are very good. I just see them because I like him, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's probably why I watched Elevation.
I mean, I watched it because I thought the plot was interesting.
It was fine.
You have a Quiet Place style apocalypse with monsters, which I'm here for. Those are fun.
The monsters can't go
but they can't go above
certain
like 8,000
height.
feet, so everyone lives in mountains now. And it's so contrived, and it's so trite in its nature. Because I love that it's a literal decimal point. Like, they have fences,
right.
and they run up and back between these fences, and when they cross the fences, the monsters just stand there and, like, stare at them until they get pissed enough to walk away. And at that point, I'm like, you have tentacles, just grab the people, you're 5 feet away from them. Like, we are not once told what happens to them when they cross the line. They just don't do it.
Yeah.
That is wild to me. I mean, isn't it revealed at the end that, like, they're biomechanical or something? That they're like...
they were created.
They were created by, like, an alien race to start some type of invasion or some shit. Yeah. Like, that's the twist at the end or whatever.
I don't know who created them, but...
Yeah, I think it's led to be believed aliens. I don't think it's supposed to be man-made. And, holy shit, was that ending uncalled for and unnecessary, because the movie is so much about just...
The one thing I like about the ending
go get
is
medicine for my son.
Leaves it open like a John Carpenter kind of ending. Like,
yes.
We're just getting started, really.
Yeah. I can't wait to be back for part 2. And then, you know, Ron Howard has to come on and say, there will not be a part 2.
Yeah, this is actually the ending of the movie.
The revolution is beginning. As they start blowing up all the aliens with their magnesium bullets. Yeah, no, I'm okay on that. It was fine.
Yeah, it was fine.
It was fine. Opinion on the new Ghostbusters, Frozen Empire.
I'm not interested. Didn't see it.
Not interested, didn't see it. Is it just because Ghostbusters was good as Ghostbusters and you just don't need any more of it?
Yeah, I don't need a sequel or follow-up to every single movie I watched when I was a kid, including Ghostbusters. I never saw the one that Paul Feig did, and I did see Afterlife and thought it was fine. But then when they announced they were doing a sequel to Afterlife, that just isn't for me.
It's more of that.
Yeah, I thought that it was really corny how
they're starting a Ghostbusters company, and the movies are just going to be about the company and how everyone is related to the company.
Yeah, I'm not interested.
They've serialized it. They've Jurassic Worlded Ghostbusters.
Yeah, and is anybody asking for this?
Yes.
Really?
Evidently, because they keep getting success.
Yeah.
Now, here's my perspective. They did Ghostbusters Afterlife as a Horror Nights house this last year, and it was fine. It's known as to the community, there's a comedy house every once in a while.
Okay.
And this was that year's comedy house, where, I don't know, what's a good comparison? Killer Clowns from Outer Space has been a comedy house. Ash vs. Evil Dead has been a comedy house.
I've heard of this.
Yeah. So, Beetlejuice was a comedy house. They did Beetlejuice 2-3 years ago. Every once in a while, there's a lighthearted Horror Nights house where, yes, there are still jump scares, but it's based more around a young adult concept or a funnier concept as opposed to a straight-up horror concept. You know, you got your House of a Thousand Corpses to the left, you got your Beetlejuice to the right, you know. It's at a theme park, we have families. Makes sense that there would be a disconnect at some point.
Yeah.
But, that being said, house was fine, movie was fine, much like you, I'm fine. I don't necessarily, I'm not asking for more Ghostbusters. The world will continue to spin without Ghostbusters, but for some reason, the companies are like, what is it, Columbia is just like, more Ghostbusters, or Paramount, whoever the fuck does, TriStar, whoever the fuck does Ghostbusters. All that I know is that they're pumping it out. Like, they're working on a new cartoon, they're working on 1 or 2 new movies, I don't know, man. They're really digging it. They're kicking that horse.
Well, good for them, I guess.
Similar horror adjacent territory, Godzilla and Kong New Empire. The new Kaiju verse movie.
I thought it was fine.
It's just the new Michael Bay Transformers, in my opinion. Like, it's just the new CGI smack each other movie. I'm okay with that, though. Like how you're okay with the Saw movies, I'm okay with that.
I think I mean, I like the Saw movies.
I grew up with we discussed Godzilla earlier with -1. I grew up with the Toho films. I remember when they were stupid and they were just people in suits smacking each other. I like that. It's the Saturday morning cartoon side of my brain, I think.
No, I think that as far as these new... So now there's a Universal movies that's King Kong and Godzilla. And Monarch. I think that the King Kong Skull Island was a great
Skull Island is the best movie. Is the best of the new
none
movies.
Of the other ones have even come close to that one.
The Aaron Taylor Johnson 2014 Legendary one was okay.
Yeah, I liked that one. I thought
King of Monsters was cool, but I thought the human aspect of it sucked.
Yeah.
I want Millie Bobby Brown to stay away from any franchise I like. The only thing she's good in my opinion, is Stranger Things. I thought Kong Skull Island fucking rocked. Yeah. Much like you. Just, they nailed the period. They nailed the cast. The CGI was wonderful. And then they did Godzilla vs. Kong, and I thought that was predictable. And Mechagodzilla is predictable. And they just remade the old one. Like bags. And then they did this one, and it's all about Hollow Earth, and it's all about fighting Big Monkey. With Big Monkey. And then they got Ice Dragon, which... In my head, it's just like, I love all the old Toho ones. So when I saw King Ghidorah and Rodan and Mothra fighting each other in King of Monsters, I was like, oh, I'm a fucking kid again. This is awesome. And then I see this one and I'm like, this is just Saturday morning cartoon bullshit. This is out of universe, in universe bullshit. Like, they're not going to pay for the rights of any cool, already existing monster. They're just going to make up their own cheap, shitty kaiju because they don't want to pay anyone. I blame Adam Woodgard mostly because he refuses to get the rights to the other Toho monsters. Like, everyone's asking for I don't know, Anguirus and fucking Gigan and Biolante and all of these other crazy...
Somebody's asking for Biolante.
Someone's asking for Biolante.
Gigan and Ghidra are my favorites because when I was a kid, the Godzilla movie that I had on video that I watched repeatedly was that one. Godzilla
I have a bunch on video and a bunch on DVD, but yes, I agree. I have the Gigan.
I think I got my mom to buy that. I also like the
Jet Jaguar Gigan one.
It was at a gas station. It was like $9.99 VHS when I was a little kid. And
mine was a double pack.
Oh, nice.
It folded open. It had one film on one VHS and then another, and then it had an insert. So it was 2 VHSs with a book-lined spine.
That's pretty cool.
And you would open it, and it would say, which one do you want to watch? Do you want to watch... And it would have a big picture. Do you want to watch versus Gigan, or do you want to watch versus Kong, I think?
And you said both at the same time, right?
Yeah, both at the same time. 2 TVs. Lots of Toho.
I don't know why I like this idea so much of you watching two movies at the same time.
No, I do double features quite frequently.
Oh, so do I.
And I do theme them, which
we'll
we'll get to. So I themed one earlier that we're gonna get to in a little bit. What did you think of Heretic? Religious allegory. Hugh Grant traps two Latter-day Saints chicks in his house. And
it was good.
It's like a test of faith.
I like to see a good guy actor play a bad guy. I like to imagine that he's playing his character from Notting Hill, just down the road,
just trapping Mormons. Yeah.
But we don't. There's no movie in between to explain how.
That's great.
He got this way.
That's great. That's a good. I bet the director thinks the same thing.
Yeah, definitely. He's very crazy in this one.
I recommend the movie for people who are interested in hearing cool philosophical, theological arguments, who like to have that side of their brains questioned, I suppose. But in my head, I liked the first 50% of this movie a lot, and I thoroughly disliked the last 50% of this movie. And after a certain point, it just drops. And I don't want to spoil this one because it's fresh. It just came out a month or two ago. But it feels too fresh to spoil. And that being said, I would much rather just say I recommend it and people should go watch it.
Agreed. I recommend it.
Hugh Grant does a hell of a job, and I like the chick from Yellow Jackets who played one of the girls in that. She's coming out in another movie I'm interested in next year called Companion, by the guys who did Barbarian. Yeah, very interested in that. But if you like theological, philosophical arguments, go check out Heretic. Fuck. This was the newest one that I watched. I watched it this last weekend. This movie fucked me up a little bit, and for all the wrong reasons. I saw the TV Glow.
Okay.
Did you watch this one?
I did.
I believe it's HBO, and I think it had a limited theatrical release.
Yes.
I did not see it in theaters, and I'm sad that I didn't, because I feel like I would have loved it in theaters. I watched it at home, and it was intimate. I was alone, and it made me really sad. This director, Jane, she's non-binary, and she directed a movie called We're All Going to the World's Fair.
Yeah, I had watched that after.
And I had watched that first, and I didn't love that, but I thought it was interesting, and there were some cool moments in that. A bit too mumblecore, and I say that as someone who liked Skinamarink. We're All Going to the World's Fair. I saw the TV Glow. I didn't love We're All Going to the World's Fair, is the point I'm trying to make. I think I Saw the TV Glow is going to stick with me for a while. That movie upset me on a deep, part of my soul.
Okay.
I just think there's something really sad about the character of Maddie in that movie, about her life and how it's portrayed and how she tries to convince herself, that she is living the pink opaque, she is convinced that this show is her life, and how it sees all of it, how it frames all of it is through this other kid in the plot, this younger kid who's seeing this chick from the outside, who gets a vague interest in the same show from watching commercials late at night. I don't know, so much of it reminded me of what I felt like growing up watching, Are You Afraid of the Dark and Goosebumps and all that adjacent young adult shit that was probably too spooky for a kid to watch. Some of those episodes are a little too much. But how you romanticize that feeling of getting older and being like, oh, I loved that shit when I was a kid, and then you go back and watch it and it doesn't hit the same way, and it's just really fucking depressing.
Oh, yeah.
That
absolutely.
movie is that attitude as a movie. And the passage of time through, I want to say his name is Justice.
Yes, it is.
He's great. I love him, first off. And his portrayal of just this kind of bumbling, nervous kid just reminded me of how I felt in high school. And it's just like purposeless and lost and confused about where they belong and what they should fit in with. And at the same time, all that they want to do is just watch this TV show because it's like the only like thing that provides them comfort. You know, and I'm not even trying to say anything about my own life, but even the life that this kid is portrayed as in the movie is just very sad.
Yeah.
And like he goes on to become a sad adult who then like denies all of these aspects of his character. And I don't know, like it's tough to categorize this movie as horror or even horror adjacent. It's more like existential horror. It's not there's an element of psychological with Maddie's character. She's bonkers. But the movie is more existential horror, if anything. Because it's all about, like, the passage of time and, like, coming of age and all of these other aspects that we know from other things. But then it hits you with a hammer at the fucking end with him, like, finally, like, breaking down. And I don't know, like, that movie held up a mirror to, like, what I felt like as a kid and how I'm starting to feel as an adult.
Now that
I'm, like,
you've lived long enough to know the passage of time.
I'm old enough to know that things will never hit like when I was a kid.
Right.
And, like, I miss that feeling. And it's sad feeling that, and it's sad seeing that, and, like, that movie is that. Do you agree?
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. Highly recommend. I'm excited for what Jane's career can turn into, because I feel like We're All Going to the World's Fair was weird, but I Saw the TV Glow was good.
And these are great titles also.
Yeah. Yeah, World's Fair's title honestly dragged me in the most because I was like, what the fuck is this about?
Yeah.
And then I Saw the TV Glow was just fun. I thought it was directed really fun. I thought the acting was really fun, and I just think the story is just very sad. I remember the story leaving me the same way like Vanilla Sky made me feel, which is just like existential as fuck and just kind of sad to be a person.
That Vanilla Sky made me sad to be a person who had bought a ticket to see Vanilla Sky.
See, I love that movie so much, but at the same time, I totally understand what you're saying.
Yeah, I have another friend who thinks that movie's fantastic, and he hadn't got me watch it a second time several years ago, and I'm like, sorry, it's just, I guess not for me.
I love the idea that like it's just a dream and this dude has been dead and that it's all been in his head and it's just about how it's how dreams feel, and like that's what I mean, like it makes me feel similar because when you wake up from a dream sometimes you're sad because you're like, oh man, I liked that dream was fun, that dream was interesting, it fixed all the things that are wrong with my life. Because it's your brain, it's your DMT, it's like the closest that you get to like what death probably feels like, you know, like that's the side of your brain that's like completely unrestrained, versus I Saw the TV Glow being about how you perceive things as a kid and how you romanticize these things and how you grow into them, and how like 20 years after the fact you're gonna look back on those things and be like, what the fuck, like what even is life anymore? You know, like there's something about the waking up and being like, what is life of Vanilla Sky versus the passage of time aspect of I Saw the TV Glow. It just makes me like, what is life? You know, it's like both sides of the same coin in my head, but different attempts.
Double feature.
Yeah, I didn't do that, though. That one I just watched by itself. Man, to go from I Saw the TV Glow to Imaginary is sad. Blumhouse Teddy Bear.
I didn't watch that one.
Blumhouse Teddy Bear. You don't need to.
Yeah.
Because it's predictable as fuck. It's basically a Goosebumps episode.
Yeah. That's why I didn't go to that one.
Fun writing. But it's because it's bad. Blumhouse is not great. That's my general opinion, is that Blumhouse sometimes does things right, but most of the time they don't.
No, I don't know. I think they're more like 50-50.
I definitely don't think they're 50-50. And I think you are also ignoring the garbage majority that they release.
I don't see all of them either. Like,
that's why you think that. You're skipping 3 or 4 of them every year.
Probably.
Yeah. Imaginary I don't really even want to talk about. It's Creepypasta the movie, and that's not a compliment. This one was fun. Immaculate.
Yes, it was. I like
Was that Sydney Sweeney?
Yes, it sure was.
yes, it sure was. Hot dog.
I love her.
Yeah, she's great.
And I like a good Catholic horror movie.
She's great. We're going to talk about another one. It's in the list. But I think...
She's finally in a movie I wanted to see.
That's
she
fair.
Kept acting in movies that...
Yeah, she kept doing dog shit
I was
movies.
Seeing them, but I only because I like her.
You mentioned Euphoria earlier. I haven't watched it.
Oh, yeah, she's definitely good in that.
Hell yeah, she's definitely...
Everybody's good.
She's real good in that. Yeah. It's fine. It's fun. The last 5 minutes where she's just standing in that field fucking screaming. I love that shit.
Oh, yeah.
That's the moment that you want to write, and then you just have to write an entire movie around that moment.
So you can get to that part.
So you can get to that part. And you could just tell the person who was writing that script was just like, this is what I started with. Like, this is the scene. But yeah, there were some monologue-y parts that I was like, just shut up and get on with it. Come on. Especially when we get to the other one in the list that I feel like does it better. I thought Immaculate was serviceable at best. Recommended. We had somewhat different opinions about this when we talked about it. We're halfway through, by the way. More than halfway through. The 2024 list, I mean. We're more than halfway through the episode, definitely. In a Violent Nature.
Yeah, I didn't like that one.
I remember you telling me. You said it was boring, the pace was bad, it was shot stupid. What else was your opinion?
Did you say that in like a stupid voice?
No, you said it was shot stupid. That it was boring.
Said it was shot stupid.
Any other thing I'm missing?
I don't think so.
I just really wish they would have had the nuts to just do a Friday the 13th film and actually have it just be Jason instead of some dumb firefighter.
Happens.
I hated that mask. The mask was the worst part of the movie.
Follow the killer around, and the killer doesn't run fast and doesn't talk. It's boring. Going into it, I was like, maybe this will be interesting, but it doesn't sound like it's going to be interesting, and it wasn't. I thought it was very boring.
I did think it was interesting, and I thought it did enough of what it was doing to show that they could do that again and do it better.
I don't want to see another version of that.
You're done.
Yeah.
You don't want In a Violent Nature Part 2. Because I think we're going to get it.
Probably.
Because it made a lot of money.
Yeah.
People kept talking about the yoga kill in this one. They were like, oh my god, you gotta go see this one from the yoga kill. I'm convinced that was a marketing campaign. Because I saw that kill and I was like, that's it? That's what people see this movie for? You know what kill I'm talking about?
Yeah.
People kept talking about it online. They said this fucking kill, and then it happens, and I was like, really? There were better kills in that movie. What he does to that sheriff in the third act is fucking awesome. He takes that dude to like a woodcutter, like an industrial woodcutter. I remember that fucking rocked. Anyway, I hated his costume. I hated his mask. I thought he was so much cooler just being a weird dude walking through the woods.
Yeah.
When he puts the mask on, that movie got worse. Because it was just so dumb looking, so illogical.
It went from pretty bad to really bad at that point.
I mean, it went from okay to not recommendable. But even then, I liked it because I like that type of shit. You were making fun of me for my double features.
I wasn't. I was making a comment about you watching movies at the same time, not one after another.
So this night is the one that I mentioned I watched Blink Twice. The movie I watched before Blink Twice was It's What's Inside.
And I don't think I watched
which is on Netflix.
No, I didn't have Netflix for a while, and then I just got it again recently, so I've been catching up.
Alright, so...
I haven't seen that movie.
Recommend, put it on the list. It's What's Inside. Plot. Very simple. Dude shows up to a party with a mysterious device that he says, everyone, put these patches on the side of your head, we're going to sync up.
Okay.
He hooks 8 people up to this machine at this party, and he says, we're going to play a game. When I press this button, we're going to switch bodies, and it's going to be out of body, and it's going to be weird, because you're going to be someone else, you're going to feel like someone else. But the game is, we got to figure out who's playing as who. Alright? Because they know who they are and they see themselves, but they have to pretend to be someone else.
Mm-hmm.
That's the game. It's fun. It's fun as hell. And the acting is hilarious, and it's very over the top. It's very meta. Loved it. Watching this before watching Blink Twice was a treat. Because they're both kind of these social aware films about how these people operate. Like, this one Diddy parties, this one kind of fuckhead parties. Like, what kids... Talk to me-esque, we're gonna get into some hijinks. When they start switching bodies and they start playing the games, figuring out who's in whose body, ulterior motives start to pop up naturally, and people start to get killed. And then it comes down to, why are people getting killed for being in each other's people's bodies? It's because they want to steal their life, and they don't want to be themselves anymore, and all this other shit starts to come out. But the cast is really great. Watch it. That's all I'm saying.
I added it to my list.
It's really fun. If you liked Blink Twice, go check that out. Here's another double feature I did. The first one I watched was Infested. French spider movie.
Yeah, I heard of it, but I didn't see it.
Mark?
Verminis, the French title.
Mark? Infested was fucking awesome. It was like...
I don't know why I haven't seen that.
It was like Aliens, but an apartment infested by spiders.
I like a good spider movie. There aren't a lot of good ones.
They take the myth of the, like, Iranian camel spider and hit it at 60 miles per hour. This thing multiplies, grows in size to the size of like a small dog, and they all start jumping on people, and they fill full hallways. They go full fucking practical effects arachnophobe with it. I'm not going to say anything more. It's French. It fucking rocks.
And what did you double feature that with?
The second one is, we're going to talk about it later, it's Sting.
I had a feeling you might say that.
I did a spider double feature as well.
Yeah.
I watched both of them in the same day, back to back. We'll get to that one. Infested fucking rocked. Moving on. Late Night with the Devil.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do the same thing you just did, which was go, oh, yeah, uh-huh. Because Late Night with the Devil fucking rocked.
Yeah, it was a good time.
What's his name? Destelmachian?
Yeah.
Dude's getting into more stuff. Ever since he was featured in Dark Knight, dude's been having a real good time.
Yeah.
Just being a weird character actor, and I'm here for it. So,
Me
it
too.
was his movie, basically. He ran that entire fucking thing from start to finish, and he was great. So, Direction was fun, cast was fun, writing was fun, special effects were good. What more can I say other than that it felt like a VHS segment? It really did.
Yeah.
You know, cursed tape, lost tape, faux documentary.
And then the ending you could discuss.
Yeah.
You have different takes on what exactly happened. It gets bonkers, though.
Ambivalent ending.
I liked the ending.
Always love to see people being fucking weird and crazy. Got a limited release. I actually did see this one in theater. Yeah. Good fucking time. This one I just watched on Netflix earlier this year. Leave the World Behind.
Yes.
Julia Roberts, Ethan Hawke, Mahershala Ali.
And they were...
The world starts to go to shit all around them.
They weren't getting along.
No. A family goes on an Airbnb vacation upstate New York, and the world starts to end while they're out of town. And it starts to become a global catastrophe. There's a conspiracy. Mahershala Ali's character has hookups within the defense side of the government. It's his house that Julia Roberts and Ethan Hawke's family are staying at. So when the apocalypse starts to go down, not apocalypse, but just like when the world starts to end, he of course flees the city and comes home, and he tries not to raise too many alarms, but he's just like, hey, you guys are in our house. We wanted to come home early. You guys should probably leave because there's like stuff going down. And the family's like too scared to leave, but at the same time don't feel like they should have to because they rented the house for the weekend. It's very awkward. It hit the same awkward notes as like Barbarian, which is like, we're just two people in an unfortunate situation and we're just trying to be good people about it. Which was interesting. That being said, the movie asks too many questions without giving enough answers. And when you're doing something like that, it's more frustrating because of how real it is. Like, whatever's going on, because they lead to believe that it could be coming from any side of any country. There's no answers throughout the movie. Some other country is attacking the U.S. with cyber terrorism, deploying weird weapons technology that fucks around with animals and technology like planes and ships. You know, it fucks with all their location data, readings, satellites. Everything starts to shut down in the US. And then it starts to like destabilize the government because the government can't communicate with its people. So then people start to go nuts. But it's not like crazies level nuts, and it's not like, it's very like beneath the surface nuts. It's like insurrection style nuts, like conspiracy, doomsday or nuts. And that's the part of the movie that I liked. Like Kevin Bacon's character, loved that scene. Did you see this?
Yeah.
Okay. What was your opinion? Like, what do you think at the end of the day? Just of the entire movie. What did you think?
I liked it a lot.
You liked it a lot.
Yeah.
What did it remind you of? Like, why did you have a fond opinion of it?
I don't know what it reminded me of, but it was just like a lot of really, I like that awkward tension when people are trying to, like you said, trying to be polite. And there's a scene later in the movie where Mahershala Ali's character really kind of breaks things down for Julia Roberts.
Yeah.
And that was just a really, I think he's great.
I think he's phenomenal, and I think it's the first time I've really liked something that Julia's done in a while.
Really? First time? Oh, in a while.
No, in a while. And Ethan's very competent. I love him in a lot of stuff.
He's one of my favorites. I like him a lot.
Yeah, like seeing him in Northman was a treat, you know. But yeah, I recommend this movie for people who are interested in seeing what a modern day Doomsday would look like, but you have to be uncomfortable with that to admit that that's something you want to watch. Because I think it's incredibly realistic. That's the most uncomfortable part about that movie, is that I really do think that that's how, like, the world would end. Is that no one is able to talk to each other and everyone just starts to get so paranoid they just start killing each other.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden our major cities start getting, like, nuked and none of us are aware. No one else in the country, everyone is blind. No one knows what's happening anywhere. And then next thing you know, our entire world changes, like, overnight.
I try not to think about that.
Oh, it's fucking wild. It's scary. It's Cold War level scary. Let me keep moving. Don't want to talk about this one too long because I didn't love it, but holy shit, did the internet and world go wild with it. Long Legs.
Oh yeah, I like that.
Why'd you like Long Legs?
Because it was scary.
I didn't think it was very scary.
I thought it was spooky. I thought it took great restraint too to have Nicolas Cage in such a crazy role and
not
limit his appearances. Yeah.
Yeah.
I basically like that director, Osgood Perkins.
He's done some interesting stuff.
No, he's not done anything I love, but I basically enjoy his movies usually. Pretty Thing, Gretel and Hansel, Blackcoat's Daughter.
Blackcoat's Daughter.
That's
the one that stands out.
I didn't remember all those. I just pulled this up on Letterboxd.
Yeah.
And he's also doing this new Stephen King one, The Monkey.
Yes, The Monkey. Monkey looks good, though.
We'll see.
Monkey looks fun, and I would much rather him not write what he directs, personally.
Yeah.
Because he wrote Long Legs, and I actually think that was my problem with it. Because visually, I had no problems with it. I thought visually it looked really good, but I thought writing-wise, plot-wise, it left me lacking a little bit. I was a little frustrated.
Okay.
I don't want to get into it. It's not worth waxing and waning about why I disliked Long Legs. I think ultimately I could sum it up to the trailers were too good and word of mouth was too positive, and I tend to have this reaction to when people are over-talking something.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Like, my initial thoughts for Hereditary was not as good as everyone said it was. And then, I went back and I watched it like a year or so later, and I was like, never mind, this is just as good as everyone said it was.
The hype was
too much. The hype was too much at first, and then it came into a more understood realization later. I don't know if I'm going to feel that about Long Legs, though, because my problem with Hereditary was just the hype. That one deserved it. I think my problem with Long Legs can't be solved by ignoring the hype.
Yeah.
Letting Long Legs simmer might make me frustrated more. Because the problems I have with the plot can't be answered with time. The problems I have with the plot are going to be problems I have with the movie through and through and through. I just really dislike the mom character, and I dislike the entire third act. I think the first two acts were fantastic, and as the movie goes on, it just gets worse. Because when they catch him, and they have him in the cell, the movie just, like, disconnects. From that point forward, I think the movie's just ass.
Okay.
But anyway, it was fine. I don't love it, but I understand why people liked it. I just wish the internet would calm down sometimes. Next one, Maxine, XXX.
I was disappointed because I really like...
I like X.
X and Pearl a lot.
And Alley Cat loved Pearl. I thought X was
Pearl.
better, but Pearl is good. I thought Maxine was fine. I wasn't super disappointed. I was super disappointed with Long Legs, and it's because everyone said it was going to be great, and it was going to be the new Silence of the Lambs. That's not the new Silence of the Lambs. Silence of the Lambs is Silence of the Lambs. That movie fucking rocks. Long Legs is nowhere close. And with me walking out of Maxine, I go, this is exactly what he told us we were going to get. Ty is very straightforward. He's a very simplistic filmmaker. If you've seen most of his stuff, you understand exactly what you're getting into. I think most people expected more of Pearl because it was so fresh.
I liked that one a lot.
Me, realistically, I knew we were gonna get more of X, which is exactly what it was. It was just X taken to the next level. And I could see why people didn't like that, but I was fine with it.
I thought that the story just kind of dragged in Maxine and was just sort of awkward overall. the Night Stalker was that what they were calling the villain in the press?
Well, it took place at the same time as Richard Ramirez.
Yeah.
So it was a copycat killer.
It just
someone who was hiding their kills by imitating the copy,
right.
by Night Stalker.
I guess I just thought the story could have used another draft.
I agree. It was very American Horror Story. It was very surface level, simplistic.
Yeah.
I thought Kevin Bacon was fucking hilarious, and I liked what's her face, but I was sad to hear that she's kind of a piece of shit, Mia Goth.
Oh no, is she?
Well, did you hear during this movie she stepped on an extra's hand and broke 2 of his fingers and blamed it on him and yelled at him and got him fired and excommunicated from the set and given no pay just because she's a bitch and made a mistake and didn't want to own up to it.
Oh, no, I don't.
Yeah, there's all this drama. The guy wanted to sue and apparently couldn't because of the paperwork he signed, and he made a big stink about it.
Well,
I don't even know what scene, but
what's he getting in her way for, this guy, you know? It's a good thing they fired him.
All right. We're getting we got less than 15 to go. Never Let Go.
I still haven't seen it.
I won't talk about it too much then. I was disappointed, but it's just because, again, A Quiet Place just came out. We don't need more movies like this, where it's a parent and the kids out in the woods being nutty.
Yeah.
It does all the same things, except worse. Halle Berry wasn't very good in it, either, which is disappointing as hell. Weird psychological question, but I feel like you could just go watch The Village and feel better about yourself. The Village is a much better movie.
Yeah, I like that movie.
And it essentially does the same thing. So there you go. We don't have to talk about this very long either. Night Swim. We were talking about Blumhouse being funny.
It's funny.
I think Night Swim was January or February of this year, but it was the fuck you, it's February movie. Because Blumhouse has to let out a movie every 2 months.
My review on Letterboxd, and I had given that movie 2.5 out of 5 a year ago, almost exactly a year ago. And my review says how Blumhouse usually is pretty good, and probably roughly 70% of their movies are worth your time, just not this one. So but you have made me rethink. And you've
skipped the last 3.
You've made me rethink.
Listen.
Blumhouse. Maybe I don't like them as much as I thought.
Night Swim, again, on topic for this year, something new that's just going to be said moving forward. Night Swim was a guy who started off on YouTube. And guess what? Night Swim exists as a 10-minute short film, horror film, on YouTube. And guess what? It's much better as that. Yeah. As a short film on YouTube. When you stretch that plot out over the course of an hour and 15 minutes, you have to make some compromises and you have to do a shitty Blumhouse movie. Now, that being said, I love Wyatt Russell. I want him to have his dad's career so fucking hard. I want him to take a hard turn into pulpy, grindhousey action movies and never fucking leave. If he has to do some Blumhouse bullshit to get there, I'm all for it. But I have high hopes for Wyatt Russell's future, and I just hope the industry is accepting of that. It's the only Nepo I want to take advantage of that system. He did a good John Walker for Marvel. He played the asshole Captain America equivalent. U.S. agent. I love him in that. I loved him in Overlord. I thought he was fucking awesome in Overlord. That's exactly the type of pulpy Kurt Russell shit that I want him to do. And he was also in an episode of Black Mirror. I want him to keep going. I don't care if we have to sit through a couple night swims. He was the best part of that movie. That's all I need to say about Blumhouse's Night Swim. Oh, this one just came out. This one's fresh. Nosferatu. Robert Eggers.
Too long. Don't like Nosferatu's mustache. Really beautiful looking though, and Lily Rose Depp is real good. I like
Nicholas
Robert Eggers' attachment to non-widescreen ratios.
Yes.
I get the feeling that he'd shoot everything as 4:3 as Lighthouse was if the studios would let him.
If the studios would let him, I'm almost sure of it. Yeah.
With Nosferatu, like there's just
I would hate for him to do that to Northman, though.
A little bit of black on the sides.
Northman is so beautiful in like wide.
Yeah.
That's not that one's an exception.
That's not his preference.
But which would feel really good 4:3.
Yeah.
Which would feel really tight, really claustrophobic with a 4:3. What's your favorite of Eggers' films?
Which?
See, mine is Northman.
Okay. Yeah, I like that movie.
I love the mythology. I love Vikings. I love his natural, simplistic nature. His just, I'm just gonna do it as authentically as I can because that's the world I exist in. And yet he does crazy supernatural shit within that lens.
Yeah.
And I love that. He feels like our generation's Kubrick. A little bit.
I don't know about that.
I think there's a dry, authentic nature to him that I think you let him. I mean, Kubrick did weird stuff. I don't want to say thematically he's similar. I want to say director-wise, pacing-wise, creatively. Of course, they're very different artists. It's like comparing Pablo Picasso and Vincent van Gogh. You know, they're both impressionists, but at the end of the day, they're painting. That being said, I liked Nosferatu. I don't know. I really didn't like the mustache either. And I get it. In the original novella of Dracula has a mustache. I understand that if you were to go to like 1800s Transylvania, fucking Romania, whatever, Vlad the Impaler, you know, we would see a dude with a mustache. Because it was a dude with a mustache or a beard meant you were a nobleman.
Yeah.
Their faces were rarely uncovered. That being said, there's a better fucking way to do it. Having a really fucking bushy schnoz for a character like that menacing, man, it's like putting a fucking mop head on Freddy Krueger. You know,
it's
like
difficult.
It's putting a fucking, I don't know, it's putting a fucking wig on Jason. It's just awkward. It's awkward, it's weird. I don't care how practical it was. I don't care how thematically appropriate it is. Use your better nature and just do it differently. And I'm not even someone who's like looking at Max Schreck or Herzog. You know, I'm not looking at them as examples, but when you say Nosferatu, you remember it for being a Dracula spin-off because Bram Stoker did not want to be adapted. They had to make up their own, so they remade Dracula under their own banner, and he was never meant to be Dracula. He was meant to be different than Dracula. And I think you're able to take some liberties there. Robert Eggers is not the person to take liberties. He likes to artistically adapt. He's taking his own idea and he's saying, let's do this as real as possible.
Yeah.
And there's some really interesting and really beautiful stuff he does, but at the end of the day, I feel the same way you do. Like, too long, too dry, and they mask a wonderful performance by Skarsgård with a fucking schnoz.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get past it the minute I saw it.
Same.
You're like the only person I've met that agrees with me on that.
On the mustache?
On the mustache. The internet's divided, but you're the only person I've literally met. No one else I've met has really cared. This movie surprised me a lot. Oddity.
Yeah.
I liked Oddity a lot.
So did I.
It was fun, it was interesting, it was creepy. I love when shit hits the wall in the third act. When they really start to give into it a little bit. And holy shit, what an open. What a cold open.
Yeah.
Like this sounds like a no sleep story. Like seriously. Let's say, hit you with the plot, cold open. Woman is out at a house in the middle of the boonies by herself. No one within miles of her. She forgets something in her car late at night, so she runs out to go get it, and as she comes back, she realizes that the door is wide open. This is literally like a horror story. When she sees that the door to her house is open and she goes inside to close the door, a man comes to her door and says, "Don't go in there, there's someone inside." Greatest fucking plot to cold open a movie, because it puts you in one of two seats. Do you let the weird guy into your house because it's better than being alone, and if he's telling you the truth, then he could help you get out of there or possibly defend you from whoever is in the house that he saw enter the house? Plot B, this could just be a psycho weird killer guy trying to get into your house, and he is weird looking, and he's saying crazy shit, so you're inclined to not trust him. But that's the cold open of the movie, is that crux of a situation. Do you open the door to believe in the good laurels of this person and hoping that they're protecting you from something they witnessed? Or do you keep the door closed because you don't trust this crazy guy at your door in the middle of the night? I feel like most people are going to do what she does in the movie, which is point B, and not open the door, and verily get murdered for it.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Yeah.
But it's wild to, like, see that play out, because theoretically it's a very interesting question.
Yeah.
Then the movie decides to go full supernatural with a medium who translates things through a large wooden golem man, who I thought looked fun in every scene he was in. And every time his head changed and he looked at something else, I fucking lost it. Every time. I loved that shit. When he started walking around, I loved that shit. I loved it. I loved it. I thought it was great. The movie is very slow. You have to pace yourself going into it. I didn't spoil any of the ending or any of the plot or anything. Just enjoy it for what it is. Did you enjoy yourself?
Yeah, I like that one.
What was that on? What service? Amazon?
I saw that in the theater.
You saw... That was in theater?
Yeah.
I'm bummed because I didn't see that in theater. I wish I saw that in theater.
Yeah, I definitely saw that at AMC.
Damn. Okay. Well, I liked that a lot.
Yeah, it looks like Apple and Amazon.
This one was HBO. Salem's Lot, the new one.
Yeah, I haven't watched that.
And you like Stephen King, as I look at your shelves upon shelves of Stephen King, including your Salem's Lot right there. Not great, in my opinion.
That's what I've been hearing. I'm probably not even going to bother with it.
It's them putting a fresh coat of paint on an old story.
Yeah.
And I didn't even like the original that much. I didn't watch it growing up as a kid. I didn't have any opinions of it. I just thought it was better at what it was trying to do. The whole Monster Squad, Goonies aspect of it. Stand By Me, whatever. The new one really doesn't do any favors. It doesn't focus on any character enough to give them any time, to let them breathe. The plot has to move at a breakneck speed, and you're just rushing to kind of catch up to it.
Yeah, that's kind of what I do.
And the acting is well enough, but, like, I don't know who's watching that, like, just for any of the actors. I don't think anyone, because I don't think it did very well. Yeah. And plus, they delayed it. They delayed it, like, a lot. Like, it was filmed in, like, 2019. Why is it coming out in 2024? You know?
Yeah.
That's weird. Smile 2.
I like that.
I liked it too. I liked it too. And as someone who didn't love the first one, I thought the first one was fine. I loved the ending, like 5 minutes of the first one. I thought the movie could have been more of that. And this one did kind of do that a little bit. There are definitely aspects of the character that I liked more, and I loved the perspective of being like a tortured pop artist who like did some dumb shit when she was a kid. That's just fun. It reminds me of your Lindsay Lohan and the Beast from Hell a little bit. This just tortured pop artist who's just trying to have a fucking career. And she's just like, she just loves to Lady Gaga up on stage, and she's just being haunted by a fucking toothy demon.
Trying to get on with it.
For real. I liked the actress. I thought she was really fun. I thought she was good. I loved the scene when all the people are in her apartment, and they're all just kind of doing red light, green light with her through her floor, you know?
Yeah.
And then, you know, fucking Lollipop or whatever the fuck his name is, whatever the society, the people who love this movie, they codenamed the smiling monster at the end of these movies, like Lollipop or some shit.
Okay, I think I have.
And I'm all for it. And the end was bonkers enough for me to be like, oh man, we should get a third one where it's like the apocalypse and this thing is just showing up, killing people everywhere. Like, I would love that.
I'll watch another one of those.
Yeah. It was simple enough and likable enough for me to be like, yeah, they can keep going with this. And I feel like if they keep taking it up a notch, then we're gonna get some really fucking wild places. Because that's how, like, the Rings sequel ended. With someone, like, sharing the tape online, and you're left with the implication that, like, there's millions of people all over the world that are just suddenly being killed by the chick crawling out of the screen.
Yeah, it's going out to everybody.
Viral hauntings, at best. I like the idea of viral hauntings. Oh, I finally made it to Sting. We're finally at Sting.
I like that one.
Because this was my arachnophobe double feature. I watched Infested, and then I watched Sting right afterwards.
And it sounds like it might be a scorpion movie, but then it's not. It's a spider.
It's a spider.
Named Sting.
Named Sting.
I saw that
because it bites.
At one of those AMC secret movie, like upcoming movie previews, where you don't know what it's going to be.
Okay.
Yeah, I definitely think there were a few people in the crowd that were not interested in seeing a monster movie. Even they tell you if it's going to be a horror movie. Yeah.
It had a sense of humor. It was very goofy, which kind of took me out of it, to be totally honest. I wanted it to go balls to the wall. I did myself a disservice by watching Infested first.
Yeah. Because
Infested is a much better movie. Even though it does some crazy shit. Sting is a creature feature. And that's different. Because Sting is ultimately like an alien. You're ultimately watching like an alien. It strikes a couple of the same notes that I felt with like Daddy's Head. I just felt like Daddy's Head did it better. Especially the scares. I felt like it did better. And the plot is so much more dramatic in hindsight too. So it's like, I don't know. Sting was fine. Sting was fun. It reminds me of something that would have came out in like the late 90s.
Like Ticks.
Maybe.
Yeah, Ticks is different.
Is Ticks a thing?
Yeah, there's a movie called Ticks.
That's a movie called Ticks?
From the 90s.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe we should watch Ticks.
It's good. Well, it's you'll enjoy it.
I'm going to take your word for this because I feel like
it's gruesome.
You're taking me for a ride.
No, Ticks.
Ticks is a
like the bug.
Yeah, I'm aware. Yeah. Okay. I didn't know that was a thing.
It is. My friend Dom, he likes that movie a lot.
What did you think of Strange Darling?
I'm looking it up to try to remember. Didn't see it. Okay. Good.
The guy from Smile, the kid from the Nightmare on Elm Street remake, Jennifer's Body.
Yeah. I
forget his name.
I wanted to see it, and so I don't know why I haven't.
I forget his name. What's his name?
Kyle Gallner.
Yes,
That's
Kyle Gallner. Yes, it is who I am thinking of.
He's in a lot of horror movies.
I like him a lot.
Yeah.
He is frustrating in Strange Darling. But here's what I will say. Strange Darling got a lot of accolades for being, like, crazy and inventive.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it does any of those things, but that doesn't mean I disliked it. I just think ultimately at the end of the day, Strange Darling is predictable. I just kind of, I took one look at it and I said, okay, that's the twist, and they're going to pretend it's not until it is. And then when the dime drops going into the third act, you're just kind of like, kind of saw this coming.
Yeah.
Do you have plans on seeing it?
Maybe. Don't tell me what happens.
I'm not going to tell you what happens, but that was regardless of the answer. I feel like you should watch it. I feel like I'm going to recommend it, but I will say that I think the ending is slightly disappointing.
Okay.
You know, it reminds me of Tobe Hooper. It reminds me a little bit of, like, and you're going to get it from the get-go. From the moment the fucking movie starts, it starts with a fucking text on screen saying this is based off of a real-life killing thing that happened. From that moment onward, you're going to be like, oh, is this just some kind of Texas Chainsaw wannabe? And it's not, but it is. It's not, but it is.
Mm.
And all of those vibes just kind of ruined it for me, because I don't even really like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but at the same time, it's like, do better. Be different. Tarot. We're in the T's. We're getting close.
Lois Shrieking.
Was this Blumhouse? This was Blumhouse again, I think.
Was
Tarot. At least it felt like it was.
I thought the movie was alright. There's a lot of screeching monsters in it, which is...
There are a lot of screeching monsters.
It's not my favorite thing in the world.
No, I definitely didn't think Tarot was good.
But I didn't mind it.
But I didn't hate it.
It's apparently based on a novel called Horoscope by Nicholas Adams from the early 90s, and I wouldn't mind reading that.
If it's based on a book, I could only imagine the book was better, because it's not paced like shit.
Yeah, I thought it was a decent movie. It probably is.
I mean, it struck me as Final Destination for chumps.
That's what... Yeah, one of my friends said the same thing.
And I love Final Destination, and I'm really excited that they're doing a new one, but, like, it's another one of those things where it's like how you feel about Saw is how I feel about Final Destination. I could just watch all those movies. I don't give a shit. I could watch people get killed by everyday objects pretty much anytime. I'm okay with that. Tarot, on the other hand, just didn't really apply to... Just really didn't give a shit about any of the Zodiac weird horoscope stuff that was going on. And, yeah, some of the plot armor. Like, what's-his-face surviving and coming back and helping them get out of there at the end. Just...
You don't like that?
Nope, not really. This is a big one. This one made some waves this year. Terrifier 3.
Yeah, I'm not into these movies. I didn't go see it.
This has me fucking grinding my hands together, rubbing my palms. Why aren't you into Terrifier?
They're boring.
They're boring.
Yeah.
Do you not like Art the Clown?
I think he's fine. I think the guy who plays him is pretty creative. But, like, Terrifier 2, I think, was 2 hours and 18 minutes. And it's got a really shitty story.
Yeah.
That feels like it was made up the morning that they had to be on set.
That they started shooting. Yeah.
And there's no excuse for it to be that long.
Agreed.
There's just nothing in there. And I read an interview with the director where he talks about how he's got all this story yet, so they could definitely do another couple movies. And I'm like, there wasn't even enough story in Terrifier 2 for one movie.
I definitely didn't like the first one.
God, they just go on so long.
I definitely... Hear me out. I definitely didn't like the first one. I thought the second one was a slight improvement. I didn't love it. Slight improvement. But I do like the third one.
I like the...
And let me sum it up by just saying, it's a good holiday slasher. Yeah. That's it. At the end of the day, you don't need to see the first two. You really can just see the third one. And him just going from house to house, trying to find the kids from the second movie. It's just... That's the most interesting part about it. Him being a psychopathic killer with a supernatural side effect is just fun, and I'm okay with that. If the Joker was on roids, is what Art the Clown is.
2 hours and 5 minutes for Terrifier 3.
Listen, it's definitely too long. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying that there are some fun elements with that one. I I admittedly didn't think I would be a fan of the Terrifier franchise, but it is growing on me.
All right.
And I will say, I think with the more money they make and the more money they put into it, the better they are. So the third one is, in my opinion, the best one. If that means anything to you. The first Omen.
I basically liked it. Kind of didn't stay with me too well, but...
So I know the chick from The Servant, the TV show that she did with M. Night Shyamalan. So I already knew that I was going to like her, because she's fantastic in that show. And she was fantastic in that movie. But basically, it came out like a month or two after Immaculate, and I just couldn't help but be like, why are both of these movies happening at the same time, within the same time frame?
I think I did even have that same thought after seeing previews for both of them.
They're
when,
very similar
one
movies.
preview starts and you think it's the other movie. You're like, wait, which Catholic horror movie
They
is this?
both take place in Italy about a young American woman being in Italy.
Yeah.
Except one of them is within a Catholic church and one of them is around a Catholic church. There is very little to no difference. They even have very similar Satan impregnation scenes. I just think at the end of the day, First Omen was directed a lot better, acted a lot better, and just ultimately paced better. And maybe you could blame it on the fact that it has the Omen to fall back on, as like having some soundtrack elements. Great cold open with the dude from Game of Thrones getting smashed by the stained glass window. But other than that, it's just like, I love Ralph Ineson from all of the Robert Eggers movies. So having him show up with his deep, dark fucking voice is any bonus points in my head.
Yeah.
And, I don't know. It doesn't have the smack ending of Immaculate, with Sydney Sweeney just fucking screaming for like 5 full minutes, but it doesn't quite need it because the rest of the movie, I feel like, was just better.
Yeah.
I think ultimately First Omen was better than Immaculate.
I liked Immaculate better, but
you liked Immaculate better?
Yeah.
I think that's the difference between you and me.
Is that you liked
I'm
Immaculate.
more of a First Omen and you're more of an Immaculate. That's what we come down to as characters. Which side of the coin do you fall on more? Definitely don't want to talk about these next ones as much as I felt like at first. The Platform 2.
I haven't seen it. I liked
Did you see the first one?
Yeah, I did. I liked that.
So the second one is just more, and it just informs everything that happens in the first one because it's a prequel.
Oh, yeah, prequel.
You see how that one old dude cannibal guy ended up there?
Yeah.
And then you see the people who inspired the one religion that they're talking about the entire time that journalist is in there. So anyway, I thought it was fine. I didn't think it did anything new. I didn't think it did anything interesting. I don't know why someone would want to go back to that universe. I think the movie just made money for making waves on Netflix, and they were like, sure, let's milk it.
Yeah.
It's Squid Games and Squid Games Season 2. Like, it's just... They saw something that was successful that they didn't have a lot of chips in, and then they said, let's throw more money at it and do it again. And they did. So... do you plan on watching it?
Probably not.
Yeah, I don't know if you're going to miss anything, to be totally honest. If you liked the first one, then maybe I could recommend it, but it's just more of that. This one really fucking disappointed me, and I think we're down to 5 now. Strangers Chapter 1, the remake.
Yeah, that was disappointing as a Strangers movie and as a Rennie Harlan movie.
Agreed, for both of those reasons.
Yeah.
I remember thinking that if someone can bring a little bit of charm, a little bit of nuance, because I liked Pray at Night, the second one.
Me too.
I got mad at those characters for being so dumb. That's the worst part of these Strangers movies, is that these main characters are fucking stupid. These main characters are so fucking dumb. They don't have a survival instinct bone in their entire body, which is why that pool fight scene with Pullman really slaps in the second movie.
Yeah.
Um,
I like all the neon in that movie.
yeah, but they gave it attitude. That's nowhere to be seen in the first one, nor in the third one.
Yeah.
So it's almost like they were like, oh, the first one is so jarring, so crazy. You know, it's cold, it's dark, it's depressing. Let's turn that on its head and do it somewhere else and give it like a neon 80s feel. That's different. That's cool. What are we going to do for the third one? Let's remake the first one but worse. And none of the character of the second one. None of the style of the second one. And guess what? You're going to watch 3 fucking parts of this and none of it's going to be good. Apparently they filmed all 3 of them back to back. Because it's all like 3 chapters of the same.
Right, yeah.
It's going to do a Halloween 1 and 2. Where it's just the same night/weekend continuing for this poor girl.
Yeah.
And I just can't help but be like, put her out of her misery.
Yeah.
Kill her in the first 5 minutes of the second movie, because I don't want to watch 2 more movies about this chick fucking running away from these masked assholes who frankly keep getting away with the stupidest shit I've ever seen.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
These dumbass characters. And it really does just retread these stupid, pointless moments from the first movie, acting like it's like iconic.
Yeah, it's a remake basically.
And how aggravating. Because you could dress anyone up as anything, put anyone in masks, take them out to the woods, and call it a Strangers movie at this point. And instead of doing that, they are doing the same bag-headed fucking people, doll-masked chicks, with couples in houses. I would so much rather have like a You're Next style home invasion movie. Series. Franchise. Campaign. I don't give a fuck. But there's just so many better things you could have done. And I don't know why they did what they did. Especially with Rennie Harland behind it. Because it could have been fun.
Oh, yeah.
This is a good one. I don't know how I felt about the ending, but there are aspects of it that I really liked. The substance.
Oh, yeah. Takes place all in Crazy World.
All in crazy, surreal, pseudo-reality. Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. Pretty gross body horror.
Yeah.
I was surprised that I was watching that.
Like in theater?
Yeah, and it got an R rating too.
Uh-huh.
I was surprised at that. I thought it was really...
I loved the word of mouth
grotesque.
behind it.
Yeah.
People were really supportive.
A lot of older people in the theater. I was like, I wonder how these people are doing with this movie. Like, looking around, everybody looks okay. Yeah, it
really made me like... It really made me want to go on Reddit and write like an entire essay about the male gaze. Because it's directed by a female.
Yeah.
And I've never seen more awesome ass shots of what's her name? Margaret Qualley.
Yeah. I didn't know if it's Qualley or Qualley.
I don't know. I'm going to say Qualley.
She's pretty good. She's
gorgeous. And I loved the movie because of both her and G.I. Jane.
Demi
Moore. Man, is she good in that. I haven't felt backhanded by Hollywood in a very long time, probably since Toni Collette in Hereditary. Like, for someone who deserves an award for a performance.
Yeah.
Like, Toni Collette deserved an award for Hereditary. She just did. Her performance in that movie is phenomenal. Demi Moore, in substance, deserves recognition for that role. But the industry does not want to give horror movies any sort of accolades. They don't want to recommend any of that nature to anyone. They don't want to have to start considering for your consideration. Yeah. They really do not want a for your consideration any horror movie.
Really good acting.
Oh my god.
Particularly female parts in
Eggers,
horror movies.
Eggers, Flanagan, you know, name a new age director of some kind who does really great horror. Ari Aster, they're never gonna get the accolades that they deserve, but
That's all right, because we love them, and they know that.
that's fair.
I don't think it really... I don't get excited or worked up or whatnot about horror movies not getting awards, because that's kind of our thing anyway.
Yeah,
But I mean, I'm sure it would be nice for
but
the
the
actors.
industry makes you feel like it's niche and gross to like these things, and like, I don't know. I think it's niche and gross to prod and support any of half the shit that they give awards to in most places. That's just my opinion. I think Substance was really good. I don't know how I feel about the last 20 minutes. When it starts to get very tongue-in-cheek satirical, I start to tune out a little bit, because I'm not in it for the meta-analysis.
Yeah.
I'm not in it for the critical. I'm in it for the entertainment. And when it starts to become, like, unbelievable in its own narrative is when I start to say, why is this even happening? Say what you will about the weird combo sequence that ends the movie, but I just think it's all downhill from there. And for most people, that's when it hits, and that's when they say, I can't believe they did this. For me, it's more of, I can't believe they did this. Like,
fair enough.
Like, this movie could have ended on a very subtle, kind of exasperated, quiet note, and instead she wants to shove a tit out of her face and throw up blood all over an audience of people. And I'm good. I'm good. If I want Cronenberg or Yuzna, I'll go watch Cronenberg or Yuzna. We don't need more of that. Cronenberg and Yuzna have made an entire career of doing that. You know, Peter Jackson started off there. We don't need to go back there. Let's move on from that territory. Another disappointment, but I can't say I'm surprised. Dakota Fanning, The Watchers.
Yeah, I haven't seen that.
Predictable as fuck. Pretty much called it from the get-go, but that's because I'm a nerd, and I love that shit. I love mythology. I love creatures. Pretty much called it the minute I sat down. It's Fae. You're in like fucking Sweden, you're in Norway, and you get trapped in eternal woods that won't let you exit. Yeah, it's fucking Fae. They believe in that shit. It's like will-o-wisps, you know. But then in this case, it really is Fae. They really are like these angry creatures that if you don't listen to them, they'll just fucking consume you. And that's the funniest aspect of the movie, is that you don't really see them for what they are. You just see them as kind of changeling, goat man-esque paranoia. Interesting. Short, plot runs too quick, acting isn't that great. Based on a book, you could tell. It's one of those where it's like, this is probably better as a book because the book has the time to stretch out that story and tell it slowly and give you exposition and keep you guessing. With a movie that has you guessing in the first 5 minutes, answers it in the next 5, and then poses another question, and then answers it in the next 5, and then just repeats that for an hour and 20. I'm good. I expected a little bit more, and I was just a little bit disappointed about it. You said you didn't see it.
I did not see it.
Do you plan on seeing it?
Probably not.
Yeah, I'd give that one a skip. We joked about this one earlier, down to 3. Trap.
Yeah, it was pretty poorly written.
You saw this one.
Yeah.
This one is entirely M. Night, right?
Yeah.
He wrote it, he directed it.
He wrote it with his daughter
Yes.
and her singing in mind.
Yes.
And she was fine. And
she's not the bad part of the movie. The
No.
writing and acting is the bad part of the movie.
Yeah.
I expected better out of Hartnett, because I love him. I think he's great.
A lot of the script, though, was so idiotic. And just the way that he...
I alluded to that earlier.
learned his information, the way that the police are at
Idiots.
the venue for the first time looking at a photograph of this killer that everybody's talking about on the news. And
Idiots.
Just really stupid.
Yes.
So, yeah, it was too bad.
And then I said earlier, this dude pretty much survives only because of luck in every scenario.
Yeah.
they paint him as being this super analytical, like, Rain Man, where, like, he just channels his autism into being, like, hyper intelligent, figuring his way out of things. No. Dude just gets lucky surrounded by incompetent people. Can work his way out of any situation because the people are too stupid to box him in any of these scenarios. I don't know, there's a superiority complex with that movie, and I'm not interested in having that conversation. We're down to 2. W, Werewolves.
I really wanted to see that, and I did not get a chance to see it yet.
I did see it.
So,
and it was good.
I'm looking forward to that one.
It's The Purge with werewolves.
Yeah.
Really great effects, fun practical costumes, light use of CGI. This is what I wanted out of Cocaine Bear to talk about, to bring it all the way back to one of the first movies we talked about. This is what I wanted with Cocaine Bear. I wanted a B movie which knew what to do with practical effects and how to use them and be gritty and raunchy and crazy and balls to the wall because they knew exactly what you were there for. And I like Frank Grillo. I don't love him. I think he's serviceable. He works for a new age Stallone. He works as a new age Lundgren, you know. He's our generation's Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'm okay with that. There's some pretty dumb choices made. It's very Escape from New York in the sense of, like, Purge 2, which is essentially the same movie. Also starring Frank Grillo. I don't know. There's some really great stuff in there, and you almost wish a bigger studio had really thrown a blockbuster budget at it and let it do its thing. It's the same way I felt about, like, Dog Soldiers.
Yeah.
It's like, man, I wish a big studio just threw a triple-digit fucking budget at this thing and let the director do whatever he fucking wanted. But of course we're stuck with this. And there is a very Purge Blumhouse-ish element to it. That might be a turn-off to some people, but I think you would like it. If you like creature features, if you like werewolves, if you like practical effects, which I believe you like all 3 of those things, check it out.
Yeah, I'll let you know, because I am going to watch that one.
That one's fun. I think that one's one of the only ones on the list that I could be like, I'm going to outwardly recommend this, and it should happen for a reason. Last one, Val.
Yeah, my cat is playing on the keyboard here.
I don't think she touched anything. I think she's fine.
I was waiting for her to press escape something.
Just step on it.
Oh, because she likes to lay down there. That's why, probably it.
If it's in her way, then I apologize. Last one on the list that I felt like writing down was Y2K.
Yeah, I like that. It starts out goofy and then gets really goofy. But
it also
monstery.
It also kind of gets serious. They kill 2 of the top billed characters in the first, like, 40 minutes. They kill the chubby New Zealand kid from Deadpool 2.
I was really happy about that.
I was very sad.
I thought he was very annoying.
I like him.
And I thought, oh my god, wait, this guy's not going to be in the rest of the movie?
And they killed killed my dude with the long hair from the pizza service from Stranger Things.
The pizza service guy.
The pizza dude from Stranger Things.
Yeah.
The Hawaiian pizza. They murder him in the best way though. He sees a downed basketball hoop and says, "Oh, guys, check this out," and goes over on his fucking rollerblades and tries to fucking grind and just eats shit, knocks his head off a curb, and he's immediately dead.
That was good.
I fucking laughed. I guffawed out loud when I saw that shit.
Couldn't see that coming.
No. They took out 2 of their top build in the first, like, half hour. It was wild.
Yeah.
And then you're left with fucking Snow White and Bill Dumbro for the rest of the movie, and I was just like, eh. But here's the kicker, everyone. Surprise cameo, had no fucking clue it was coming, made the movie immediately better for the rest of the movie for me. Fred fucking Durst.
That part was a little bit much.
The movie became good to me from that point onward. seeing Fred Durst play Fred Durst in a 90s movie, it elevated it for me. It was the self-aware part of the movie that I felt was missing. And it was a little too, you're going to say a little too on the nose with that part, with him as a character.
A little.
I don't know, it's the part that made it feel most like an 80s movie to me.
Okay.
The part where you had the gratuitous cameo, where it's self-referential and aware of itself. You know, like, I don't have any good examples, but it's there. What did you think of it?
I liked it. I thought it was fun.
Yeah.
Some stuff I thought worked better than others. The Fred Durst thing was all right. The kid getting killed was good.
You liked the New Zealand kid getting murked because you thought he was annoying. I mean, he did just say the same shit repeatedly, and I felt like that was super two-dimensional. Like, the most emotional part about the movie is him losing his best friend, and it's just like, if that's the crux for the movie, for it to do what it needs to do, then that's cool. I'm there for it. But at the end of the day, it's just not what I expected.
Yeah.
And that makes it interesting and that makes it fun, but it's also like it's not necessarily the direction I wanted it to go. Because I was thinking it would be more Scout's Guide to the End of the World or Scout's Guide to the Apocalypse, whatever. And instead we got more, I don't know, not quite Gremlins, but like also not. It was apocalypse adjacent, horror adjacent, but almost like Adult Swimish in nature. At least that's how I felt.
Chaotic.
Yeah, that's how I felt about it, at least. It felt... I know Tim Heidecker is in it, right?
Oh, yeah, he is, isn't he?
As the dad. And it's because Kyle Mooney directed it and he's in the movie as the stoner guy. So it's just like... I understand he's using his connects and he's, you know... I liked the other movie that Kyle Mooney's done. It's about a bear. What the fuck is it called?
Cocaine Bear.
No. Wrong. Cocaine Bear. No, wrong. Brigsby Bear. If you have a chance to check that out, that's 2017. It's pretty good. Brigsby Bear is pretty fun, emotional, very Bubble Boy-esque. But yeah, Y2K, cute, fun, quick, harmless, all words I'd use to describe that. That completes the list, and we did it in 3.5 hours. How do you feel?
Tired.
Yeah, it's definitely getting there. Out of everything on that list, what would you say stood out the most as, like, one of your favorite movies of the last 2 years? And is there anything on my list that wasn't mentioned that is on your list? Is there anything you've seen that you want to talk about? Let's two-prong this. Let me break this down. First question, is there anything on my list that I missed that you can think of?
No, and I looked over the list the other day when you sent it to me, and I do not believe so.
There were a couple things that I purposefully didn't include, but it's because I had talked about them on other episodes already, and I just didn't feel the need to talk about it. Like the newest Halloween movie, See No Evil. I've talked about those.
No, I think that Late Night with the Devil is probably...
the best thing on that list.
Probably.
In your opinion?
The last 2 years. Yeah, maybe later on I'll think of something that I wish that I had mentioned.
Hey, that's... man, if I were to ask you to pick a movie on that list and say it's your favorite and you think that's the best, if you picked Late Night with the Devil, I'm for it.
Either that or Godzilla -1.
Godzilla -1 is just a very good movie, but I understand why you would pick Late Night with the Devil. Late Night with the Devil is probably one of the top 3 on this entire list.
Yeah.
I definitely fuck with Oddity. I just really liked that. I saw that at a really good time. I also thought It's What's Inside and Blink Twice were just fucking awesome. There isn't much else on this list that I want to, like, gush about. There's a couple things on this list I want to continue bitching about, but I'm gonna try not to. But yeah, no, I hope you had fun talking about all of this with me. I hope it was a fun stroll down memory lane and that you don't consider this a waste of 3 hours of your life.
It was fun to review some of these movies from the past 2 years. Some I'd kind of forgotten about, as you could tell.
I mean, people have mentioned that they like the episodes where we just kind of nerd out and talk about shit. It's not the first time I've heard that. I mentioned another idea to you earlier today that you definitely don't want to do, which is watch all the VHS movies. I'm going to leave that offer on the table because me and Deputy Dewey, aka Seabear, we watch all of those movies together every year, and we love all of them. And he already told me he will rewatch all of them with you if you want to. You sound like you don't want to do that, so that's okay. But we will do a 2025 movie review in 2026 that'll hopefully be half as long as this one was.
Yeah, doing 1 year.
Because we won't have to do 2 years at once.
Cool.
But I also want to allude to the audience by saying we are going to do a VHS movie marathon breakdown because I've wanted to talk about the last 3 or 4 of those movies because now there's like 7 of them, and they've all been really interesting by Shudder. Ever since Shudder picked them up, they've been doing a really cool thing with VHS. I think it's a fun franchise. I want to talk about it more. I love the things that they do. I think found footage has a nice, warm place in my heart because I loved things like Blair Witch and Cloverfield. You know, even like off-kilter similar things like 28 Days Later, which feels like a POV kind of pseudo-documentary type, you know. And then I'm reminded of my love for these things when I see something like Hell House for the first time, and I'm like, how did I miss this? Grave Encounters is another fun one I like to bring up sometimes. That one is like, what if Zach Baggins from Ghost Hunters actually found a haunted asylum and they murdered the shit out of him? Such a fun movie. But yeah, we're going to talk about more movies, and we're going to cover 2025 at some point. I'm sure I'll have you back between now and then, because we have to do the third game that you're also going to be a part of. But yeah, the door open to VHS-a-thon is there to you if you want to take advantage.
I'll keep it in mind.
I'm putting you on the spot while we're recording. Is there anything else you wanted to mention on this long-ass movie recording podcast?
Oh, I don't think so.
You're ready to have a snack and maybe take a nap.
Take a nap.
Take a sleep.
Is that what you do at 11
Take a good old sleep. I mean, yeah, probably. I get 3 or 4 hours and then I'm woken up by a cat, and then I get another 3 or 4 hours and then I'm woken up by a cat. So, we'll figure it out.
You like living with these cats.
I do. They're very, one of them's really fat, and I love to carry it around because it has no choice but to accept my love.
Nope.
But yeah, this was Captain Death and Mark Rooster, Lots of Pasta Podcast, talking about all things 23 and 24, horror and horror adjacent and stupid and fun. So I hope everyone had a good time listening to us shoot the shit. But I'm gonna let Mark go now. I'm gonna take off the handcuffs. You can go. You're good. I'm gonna say that you can go to sleep now.
Good night, everybody.